stream because it was just a kid. It was just a kid that knocked on my door. She bar. External heater. What does this thing do? I don't know. I'll figure it out. Low key, I had this idea that I could watch video essays while I stream and just learn, because I feel like that's kind of tough. I feel like that is tough as hell to watch video essays while I'm streaming and just like think and talk about it. Me personally, I think that's really tough and that'd be really cool. Thoughts, opinions? Me when I say thoughts, opinions to the void, but like still, I think it's a really cool idea. Did I just put one on? Let me just put one on there. Let me just put one. 3-0? Why did they score a third one? Oh no. Oh no. Yeah, 3-0. 3-0 is disgusting. I won't lie. Well, Canada is the first host nation out of the World Cup. GG. GG. I don't know, bro. Like, I actually don't know. Oh well. GG, Canada. It okay. We tried. I'm gonna have to upload this in 2 parts, bro. Oh, Morocco will face the winner of France versus Paraguay at the quarterfinals. Wait, we're already at Yo, this World Cup is so good. So good, bro. It's so good. We got Paraguay, France in 2 hours, and then tomorrow Brazil, Norway, then Mexico, England. Yeah, Mexico, England tomorrow, bro. She bar. Oh, she. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Okay, wait. Video essay. A video essay about the best show ever made. Sunny Boy. Cyberpunk Edge Runners. When you see yourself in a character. It's about Denji. My favorite trope. The most horrifying depiction of love. Sympathy for the immortal. What's this one about? I gotta find a good one, bro. I gotta find a good one. It's a vagabond one. Ten's the king of Valorant. Sheba. Ooh, Full Metal Alchemist. What does it mean to be human? Okay, here's the title of the first one. Can I wait? I think I'd have to go. First video essay. Bang. Then pin. Unpin after 30 minutes. Okay, let's listen. Let's listen while we just mod.
Envisioned as a blank room, humanity seeks enlightenment with the promise of purpose, and purpose is supposed to come with relief and joy. Nothingness and knowledge are not the same, yet Hiromu Arakawa, the author of Fullmetal Alchemist and the team at Studio Bones who animated Brotherhood, imagine the vessel for the world's secrets with indifference and endless void of nothing.
I have way too much area to mine.
In fact, knowledge is only found after committing sin. At the story's start, our protagonist, Edward Elric, finds himself faced with the truth after attempting and failing to bring his mother back to life with alchemy. Alchemy, a science where you can create something new by giving up something else of equal value. With a deep understanding of life's materials, alchemists find immeasurable power. Edward leveraging his metal arm into a sword, Al fixing a broken radio, Boss Gron transforming the ground into artillery, and Roy Mustang, who creates explosions from a single spark. The only area alchemists are forbidden to enter is human transmutation. Even with their great power and skill, how could one ever recreate the value of a human soul? That question, what is the value of a human soul, is the essence of Fullmetal Alchemist, a story that interrogates humanity, and it starts at the gates of truth. What does one have to sacrifice in order to reach enlightenment? A soul or something greater? Edward and his younger brother Alphonse are on a search for meaning in the wake of a failed human transmutation. Their failure resulted in Edward losing both his right arm and left leg, and Al his entire body, and his soul now bonded to a suit of armor. The pair travels the country of Amestris seeking the Philosopher's Stone, all the while getting caught up in a nationwide military conspiracy. For years, Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood has stood tall as one of the top-rated series on my anime list. While Maul is not the end-all be-all for how good or popular an anime is, it does highlight FMA's intersection between accessibility and acclaim. FMA will forever be on the short list of shows that are great for new anime fans, but simultaneously ranking in the top 10 for season watchers with hundreds of shows under their belt. I think this comes from the series' clarity concept. FMA explores humanity and truth as we follow a cast of deeply drawn, likable, and hateable characters with a climax that ties every thread together in a satisfying, surprising, and action-packed way.
True.
My life as an anime fan can be easily. Yu Yu Hakusho and Dragon Ball Z introduced me to anime. Naruto got me obsessed, and Fullmetal Alchemist quickly became my favorite series ever. One of my first videos on this channel to ever surpass 1,000 views was an analysis of the 2003 anime. While I love the original, I have always wanted to revisit Brotherhood and what makes the series essential and meaningful, and that's what I hope to discuss here. To make things smooth, I'll be referring to FMA Brotherhood just as Fullmetal Alchemist, so any other mention of the original anime would be prefaced by the year it came out. Edward and Alphonse are brothers, born in Rizambul, a countryside town in Amestris. The boy's journey starts with a military certification. Edward applies and becomes a state alchemist to give him and Al funding for their research as they travel and search for their bodies. This means they answer to many of the higher-ups in the military, specifically Roy Mustang, the Colonel, and Flame Alchemist. The role of state alchemists as human weapons begin themes of government corruption and abuse, as will be further explored by the genocide of the Ishval.
That's too easy,
Fullmetal
bro.
Alchemist ranges from delving into the darkest depths of humanity, the things we'll do when trying to earn status or a better life, to the joy and silliness within people. Tonally, this is balanced through the slapstick humor that is synonymous with anime. The whiplash of tones, I think, goes a long way to helping Fullmetal Alchemist's popularity. Getting invested in the setting and characters takes no time at all. Think of the humor around Ed's insecurity over his height, or the way Hughes never stops talking about how much he loves his wife and daughter. Fullmetal Alchemist gets you laughing alongside the characters quickly, and that is when Arakawa follows it up with her darker material. While the Lior incident at the start of the show unveils a little bit of the darker tint to the story's tone, the murder of Nina, a small girl, by the hands of her father, sets the standard for how dark Fullmetal Alchemist will get.
Bro, the dog
There is something about the tone that rings so true to day-to-day life. Our lives never stay only in the series. No person can live without a balance of dark moments, and FMA reflects that. This also helps give key insights to the characters. Edward is a prodigy of alchemy and is overly insecure about the one thing in life he can't control. With a father who abandoned him and a mother who died young, Ed searches for the control that all alchemists seem to think they have over the world, forcing nature to bend to their will. All of this is conveyed through Edward's brand of slapstick humor. Slapstick elements ensure the characters don't take themselves too seriously, while the darker moments don't allow the audience to downplay the importance and brutality of these situations the Elrics and the cast come across. Fullmetal Alchemist's tone allows Arakawa to thread the needle of accessibility and singular depth, while the way the narrative unfolds makes it such a fascinating watch. FMA's first handful of episodes start with a traveling tale, as the corruption of Amestris gets brought to Edward Alphonse's attention. The structure of FMA's narrative itself highlights how government corruption can affect those who seem most removed from it. Ed and Al are kids who live in the countryside, far away from the immediate decision made in Central or any of the military strongholds in Amestris. When their mother dies and they fail to bring her back to life, it seems like an isolated incident made by two naive boys. But the naivety of the two boys stems from their disconnect with Hohenheim, who fled his family to stop Father, the leader of Amestris. It can be easy to feel like we are removed from the decision by the governments of the countries we live in, but it all connects back to us more than we often realize. Even when Ed joins the military for the benefit of government resources, he still acts like he's separate from it. Only as the story unfolds and chimeras and homunculi enter the fray does Ed finally see how even before he left Risenbull, he has been connected to the choices of the Amestrian government. This becomes apparent with the death of Nina, a death that will haunt the Elrics for the rest of the show. Nina's death is not Ediral's fault, but by the government system that indirectly encourages alchemists to push themselves beyond ethical boundaries for monetary rewards. Edward himself receives state certification because he can transmute without a circle, an ability achieved through human transmutation. The death of Nina instills a new perspective into the brothers. Not everything can be solved with alchemy. In fact, alchemy, when pushed too far, can be the root of the issue. Fullmetal Alchemist's story is split into two parts. The first before they know the corruption of Amestris fully, and second after they learn the truth. The first half follows the Elrics as they roam the countryside and search for clues about the Philosopher's Stone. This takes them to Lior, East City Central, and Rush Valley, all the while helping those in need as they uncover a worrying amount of corruption. This culminates in a few amazing sequences, mainly Mustang defeating Lust, Ling capturing Gluttony, and the reveal of Bradley and Father. The second half of Fullmetal Alchemist takes us north, with Briggs as Ed and Al make a few more alliances with General Armstrong and Scar before the Promised Day arrives. The Promised Day living up to all the hype as one of the most epic climaxes in anime. I really enjoy the contrasts between each half. The first has a limitless feel to it, as many of the mysteries of the show come up with every major plot reveal. Every major encounter in the first half asks Edward and Al to grow up and realize they cannot be in control of everything in life. And at no point were they. The second half flips the script as Ed and Al no longer seek information and instead try to conceal what they know. Coincidence plays a major role throughout the narrative structuring. Moments like Winry meeting Scar, the person who killed her parents, or our characters encountering Ling Yao and Mei Chang. All of these chance encounters and strange connections between our characters tighten the idea of a ripple effect. In the way that
There
Ed
we
now are connected to
go.
the decisions of the government, so too is every character in the story. Fullmetal Alchemist's exploration of humanity would mean little if the characters didn't meet those grandiose ideas. So I'll go through a few of the characters and touch on some of the reasons why they're so compelling and interesting. We've already talked a lot about Ed and some of the ideas inherent to his story, but he works best when considering him with Al. The two of them seek control from a life situation that they had none of. That formulates through the use of alchemy, at first to make their mom happy, and in a way to get closer with the father who abandoned them. It should be noted that the brothers are actually on a search for their father, whose body is a philosopher's stone. Their search for a family connection stems from a need to be a part of a larger whole. This contrasts the dwarf who decidedly separates himself into a community. He creates his own family, separating one whole into multiple, seeking purity, but in reality imitating human life. The connection between brothers carries the story along. The dueling protagonists means one will always keep the other one straight. When Ed is willing to sacrifice himself for Al, Al gets angry because he needs them both to survive. At times they take the burden on their own, but they are always at their strongest when they see themselves in one. One aspect of their relationship that persists through the end of the story is their trust in one another. After the horrors they went through with the failed transmutation, they still believe in each other completely. The ultimate payoff to that bond comes when Al gives his life back up, trusting Ed will find a way to bring him back. The brothers are the ideal example.
I'm just putting you there,
of
bro.
a
I don't care.
protagonist. They are competent in alchemy and have a strong will, which makes them active, but their shortcomings is their tragic backstory and failures early in the show, which always keeps them grounded. The film artist, Roy Mustang, provides a secondary main character perspective. Mustang wishes to become Führer so he can change the military from the inside. His way to accomplish such a feat is by creating a team of deeply dedicated members who believe in his goal of changing Amestris. For all of Roy's positive ideologies, he refuses to run away from his involvement in the extermination of Ishval. Roy is an example of how idealism can be shattered by the harsh reality of the world, and how do we move forward beyond that. Roy joins the military to help people, but his excellence with alchemy turns him into a human weapon. Roy's balance of positivity and anger plays out in how he defeats lust and envy. Roy disposes of a moment where he protects those he cares about. Against envy, he loses control and risks stepping over the line like he did in Ishval, this time without orders from his superiors. Roy's character walks the line where affection turns into something. It's possible step in would have been killed, even though envy is also a dangerous homunculi. That danger had been quelled as she possessed far less of a threat than lust. Roy's search for revenge, a moment to continue the cycle of hatred, pushes him to a place that mirrors those who commanded the Amestrian troops in Ishval. Roy's aura, if it were, is unmatched, but the way that he toes the line of what makes leading difficult, how easy it is to cross the line in situations that seem similar, makes him such a compelling character and adds to the themes of leadership and humanity. From state alchemist serial killer to ally of Edward and Mustang, Scar's development is central to FMA's goal as a series. Scar is a victim and perpetrator of violence that reaches to every character in the show. The entire story would be all but meaningless if we didn't get an Ishvalan character with agency. Scar has every right to seek vengeance, and what I find most profound about his development is how he teams up with our main characters after becoming a killer. There is no double standard, as he now seeks to be better. Scar's story does not answer the question if the cycle of violence could ever totally stop, but it does answer that question for an individual. Scar falls into the cycle of violence in a way that is deeply empathetic and understandable, and that plays into how Roy and the other characters within the military have an opportunity to stop that cycle as well. A father who flirts with anime's bad dad continuum, Hohenheim ultimately falls under the view of a deeply tragic person. For most of the story, he's framed as a monster, almost a villain, who abandoned his family. Of course, he did abandon his boys, but it was out of a shame for his involvement in the destruction of Xerxes and his life as an immortal being, and the need to stop the dwarf and the flask from repeating the tragedy once again. Hohenheim was not the cause of Xerxes' demise, even so he takes it upon himself to ensure that this doesn't happen again. Hohenheim fails to let himself be happy for a long time, and in the end he helps stop Father, allowing his boys to keep living. The homunculi are the villains of the series, with the dwarf in the flask splitting his body into reincarnations of the 7 deadly sins. Each of the sins act as if they hate humanity, and the dwarf's attempt to remove negative human attributes from himself ironically forms his own nuclear family with these creatures. The dwarf's entire character is irony, limited to a flask. This homunculus seeks to become a god. Each of the 7 homunculi embody sin in regard to how they view humans. The villains of the show reflect the complicated emotion of humans, the sides of ourselves that we would like to cover up. Being human can be ugly and spiteful. A lot of the time it is, but even the embodiments of our primal desires seek meaningful relationships and deeply wish to have the connection that they claim they don't desire. All of the characters in the show comment deeply about the human experience, and on top of that, they are well-drawn characters with richly layered backstories and compelling motivations, all of which change and develop over the course of the series. Everything in the show being lifted up by the production of Studio Bones. The animation of Fullmetal Alchemist ranges from playful and cartoonish, helping the slapstick humor land, to liquid and punching to help the biggest action sequences leave an impact. For a show to become an icon like FMA, it requires a studio to meet the demands of the story, and those at Studio Bones were more than up to the task. Fullmetal Alchemist is internally consistent, more so than maybe any show I've ever seen. Every plotline always comes back around and connects, creating a web of meanings and readings into the series. From wandering and searching for the Philosopher's Stone to stopping the corruption, it all heads towards the final conclusion. The Promised Day sees the climax to every arc we've been waiting to conclude. What is the dwarf's true intentions? How will envy, pride, gluttony, and wrath meet their end? And will Ed and Al restore their bodies? The night before the day arrives, Pride makes his move, which flows into the morning, where Al will face off against Pride and Kimberly. Greed's final turn flourishes as he fights Wrath and then Father, while eventually giving his life back to Lang. What works so well in this final arc is how the answers have always been right in front of the characters, but their search for control and complexity blinded them to real solutions. We see this manifest in how Edward gets Al's body back. Throughout the climax, he gravitates towards non-alchemical solutions to his problems. He defeats Pride with his fist and physical training, and at the very end uses his hands to take Father down. The solution is that alchemy is not a necessity of life, and that Edward should have put more faith in his body and not magic to make his life and the world around him better. This pays off the story in a way that perfectly aligns with the ideas of the show and the arc Edward has been on. The reveal that the Philosopher's Stone requires human lives comes about much in the same way. The immediate answer to the question, what is worth the value of a human soul, would of course be a human. But it is a reality that the boys wanted to ignore, and by the end of the story, it's a reality that they have accepted and found a solution for. This climax lasts for a large chunk of the runtime and delivers in every area it needed to. Roy loses his eyesight but positions himself to become Fuhrer one day. Scar defeats Wrath and works to mend relations with Amestrians and Ishval. Ling reassures Mei that he will look after all of the people of Xing. Hohenheim rests, knowing that Father is no more, and the brothers move forward, looking to the horizon for their next journey. This brings us back to that blank room. A mysterious being sitting in front of us, a gate to take us away. Truth is supposed to mean enlightenment, not indifference. The truth does not care if we seek it. The means in which we attain knowledge. It is only to fulfill payment. Knowledge is something that needs to have balance. All disciplines find connection, and only by understanding those connections can we seek a greater truth. Knowledge is nothing more than abstract ideas. Connect that knowledge that allows it to have importance. In that way, that's what it means to be human. To learn and apply things that don't seem to connect. To be human is to find connection. First and foremost with the people around us. Finding joy in and solace when things seem too dark to move forward. In addition to personal connection, we seek knowledge. We want to understand and know the world around us. The only way to do that is to find balance. Knowledge doesn't come from giving up something to gain something else, but by slowly expanding, as just like the void of truth. We humans are infinite. The legacy of Full Metal Alchemist expands from here, and I don't know if there will ever be a time where it's not a top show for me and a show that everyone loves. Full Metal Alchemist has been my favorite series for well over 10 years, and I don't see that changing in the future. As for the connections this series makes only deepens, a journey of brothers who seek to fix the mistakes they made, and along the way learn that life is not theirs to control, but a collective experience that no matter what we do, will always be influenced by others. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I've been waiting so long to make a video on Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, so I'm really glad a couple of months ago my patrons voted for Full Metal Alchemist to be a watch-along, so I could rewatch that series with them and then make this video. If you enjoy my videos and you want to support the channel further, the best way to do that is by checking out Patreon or YouTube membership. Through the first tier, you get access to this channel's Discord server where you can chat with me and other fans of the channel, as well as join the anime watch-alongs that I host every month. Currently, we're watching Orb on the Movements of the Earth, and that show is absolutely blowing me away. Definitely expect a video on that in the near future. And you also get your name at the end of every video and exclusive Patreon posts like monthly update posts. Thank you again so much for watching the video. It was a ton of fun to make, and I hope to see you in the next one. Born in Rizambul.
There are anime. Y'all know what that is, but then there are those series that go that extra mile. Anime that leave you in awe and give you a whole new level of respect for the creative mind and inspire. Series that give you core memories and make you feel a wide range of emotions, or specific emotions, deeply. This could be anything, since for some Dragon Ball would fit that description, and for the sickos it would be one of the 80+ Gundam anime out there. That's not hyperbole, if anything I lowballed the number. But you know what I mean. Shit that just scratches that specific itch in the back of your mind. Monster, Gintama, Gurren Lagann, and after finally watching it, Full Metal Alchemist. Yes, Brotherhood, Jesus. The amount of times I've been asked that, like if I clip the right wire to defuse a bomb. Most of you are familiar with why that matters, but for those of you that aren't, Full Metal Alchemist had an anime adaptation made in 2003, but it isn't as faithful, changing some things around in comparison to Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, which released in 2009. If I'm not mistaken, the anime caught up to the manga, and so they created their own ending and other things were changed. So you will often hear people say a series that needs a remaster should get the Brotherhood treatment. From what I've been told, people who have seen both, FMA isn't bad, but there is a subsection of the fanbase that prefers it or prefers aspects of it. Your safe bet is to go with FMAB, and if you're interested in seeing more, then you can just drop the beat. I'm also not sure if this is still the case, but there was this time where people would actively downvote anything that surpassed FMAB on my anime list, which might be one of the most unemployed things I've ever heard. only outclassed by me trying to get a jaw rune in Diablo 2 so I could put Enigma on my Warlock. But ignoring that one weird part of the fan base that does that, the overall sentiment of it being held in high regard is well warranted. I can never predict who the algorithm decides to introduce me to. But if you are by chance someone who hasn't seen it, then hear this quick portion out, leave a like, and shimmy on out of here. Before we continue with the video, I gotta put you on to something real quick, because I know for a fact some of you have sat there and thought, yeah, I could run this whole civilization thing way better than what actually happened. Be honest, you've had that thought at least once. Well, this video is sponsored by Pop, where you get to put that theory to the test. You start off in the Ice Age, nothing going on, just you, your people, and the fact that everything is trying to kill you. And from there, you're building things up, gathering resources, and pushing your civilization forward through different eras. Like, you go from caveman to something actually advanced, way faster than you would expect. What I like about it is it's not doing too much. You don't need to sit there micromanaging every little thing or feel like you're taking an exam just to understand what's happening. You just hop in, make progress, and actually see the world evolve without it feeling dragged out. You run into historical figures like Archimedes, Shakespeare, Joan of Arc, all of them helping you move things forward, which is kind of wild when you think about it. Like, imagine having that lineup just backing your decisions. The whole appeal is just how smooth it feels to play. You're building, upgrading, moving forward, seeing everything change in real time without it being a mistake. So if you want to check it out, go through my link in the description to download Pop ebook. It supports the channel, and if you use code POPLAUNCH or scan the QR code, you'll get some extra resource boxes to give you a head start. Now back to where we left off. FMAB is a series about two brothers, Edward and Alphonse Eric. Shut up, I know it's Elric. Their father is believed to be a deadbeat, and their mom is just dead. They commit a huge no-no, which is trying to bring someone dead back to life, which fails miserably, resulting in Ed losing a leg and Al losing his entire fucking body. Ed then gives up his arm to bring back Al's soul, which he then puts in a suit of armor. The two of them have been recruited to work for the government as state alchemists while trying to figure out how to get their bodies back, but end up learning that things will have an impact on the entire world and they must put a stop to it. But Ed and Al aren't the only characters worth mentioning, because even though the plot of FMAB is dope, the cast of characters is just as dope. So, if you're frustrated with stories that if you're frustrated with your own inability to speak, if you're frustrated with stories that set stuff up that was clearly meant to be expanded upon and then gets dropped like a fly, you will not experience that with this. You will feel satisfied, emotional, and I need a word that makes this description sound less erotic. It's really, really good. I'm such a genius, aren't I? But you didn't need me to tell you that, so go leave. I'm about to get into spoiler-ish territory. For those of you that remained lovely, one of the funny things that happened when watching FMAB was whenever I would tell one of my buddies what just happened and what episode it happened in, they would say, damn, that happens that early? I promise that occurred like 5 times, which is indicative of the amount of shit that goes down in this story. It's a ball that starts rolling and avalanches into something enormous before having a big boom at the end. So early Full Metal has some insane stuff worth talking about, like... Well, it's not funny, I'm sorry. This is one of the most infamous scenes in anime, so it was already spoiled for me. One of 3 things, and I'm already a bit jaded from Bondrewd and his shenanigans. Still, I can imagine it being pretty traumatic for anyone that went into this blind and experienced Show Tucker raw. Pause. Still, it's an incredibly fucked scene, and when Scar comes in and finishes them both off, oh, my heart sank. It's still a powerful moment, regardless of that too, given Ed is confronted with his past mistakes, which were shown in the episodes before all of this, covering his backstory and the incident that got them into this whole ordeal. Very quickly, FMAB shows you that it is not messing around. I've said this before in previous videos, but a lot of shonen from that time spent the first half stage setting, although after trying to get into Hitman Reborn, some of them spent the first half dicking around. Like, I mean, my god. But the second half paying it all off. FMAB does this as well, but it does an excellent job of ensuring the first half is still full of serious, crucial plot points and character moments, not just largely comedy. So there is no, you gotta give it time to get good disclaimer. While for other series like Gintama, that is one of its strengths, I'm glad FMAB wasn't that. Just within the first 10 episodes, you get Ed and Al toppling over the power in Lior on the search for a philosopher's stone, which sends it into chaos for a moment.
Alchemist thing. why Light versus L isn't close. Now
One
this is
thing
an
that crosses
opinion.
people's
Now
mind
this
when
is an
watching Death
opinion.
Note is who was
This
actually
is
smarter
definitely
between
an
Light and L.
opinion.
This question doesn't just extend to their
Let's
canon
see.
selves, but even their non-canon selves, which are known as their CTW counterparts or Change the World. For those
CTW.
unfamiliar, it's basically
Whatever,
an
bro.
alternate universe where L was able to
You're
figure out the
saying
13-day rule and then successfully thwart Light before he actually had the chance to kill L. These counterparts are on another level, with extra feats
Is my
from their
shit
timeline being a
frozen?
bit different
What's
to the
happening?
manga, making them scale higher.
Holy
This doesn't mean
fuck.
their canon selves
Wait,
are just
is
suddenly
my shit
uninteresting
frozen?
either, as no one has still
Hello?
not covered the depth of the original
Oh,
series when
canon
it comes
selves
to really overviewing their. No one has still not covered the depth.
Oh, why's my camera frozen? Wait, hello? My camera turned off? I think my camera turned off. No. Is that a good noise or a bad noise? Oh, that's a good noise. Let's see. Hello. Camera. Switch to logic capture for 2 seconds. Then I go back. Okay. I don't know what happened. Zoom back in. That's fine. Holy fuck. Why am I so shocked? I need to, yeah, I know what I must do. Anyways, let's go back.
Their battle
Wait,
of pride,
Luffy.
or what
Wait a
Nier
minute.
calls winning the game. Even though this battle has ended
Hello.
in 2 different versions, with Light
I-
winning in the
A.
OG/canon version or manga/anime, and L in the alternative timeline in CTW, fans are still arguing about it today. Whether it be that Light was incredibly lucky and had so many advantages, or L was incredibly overrated and made countless mistakes. Today we're going over this matchup from every angle, giving you the ultimate analysis on why this battle ended the way it did. We'll be primarily covering the manga, but occasionally reference the novels, including CTWL at the end of the video, along with CTW Light, where their versions of themselves scale way differently, different feats and all. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Subscribe, going for 100,000 subscribers, and join my Discord if you have more video suggestions. Follow my Twitter as well to stay updated with the content. Thank you. When it comes to discussing Light vs L, people always refer to specific moments and argue that one had an advantage over the other, yada yada. But truth be told, there's never really a point in the series where one or the other is just completely beating down the other. It's always a constant back and forth between the two, hence cat and mouse. And even if it seems like one or the other has the overwhelming advantage in the moment, the opponent is able to turn the tide on the other instantly. To document this matchup in the best way possible, let's start from the very beginning. L decides to take on the Kira case, but people tend to forget that he wasn't going in blind. While this, yes, L had a general lack of knowledge when it came to the notebook and the Shinigami, it's not as if he just decided to solve the case on a whim. He was actively keeping up with it behind the scenes, but didn't make it official to the ICPO that he would take on the case until the second chapter of the series. Right off the bat, he requests to work with the Japanese police, which sparks confusion from Suichiro Matsuda. L simply states that he strongly believes Kira is located in Japan. This also relates to another misconception. L had a pretty good idea of Light's location, but didn't get solid confirmation until he pulled off the Lindell Taylor trap. But how could L know where Light is? Did he just somehow know in order to move the plot along? Not at all. If you're in L's position, deducing that Kira is Japanese isn't incredibly far-fetched. It's actually the most logical conclusion. We as the viewer know that Light's first kill was an assailant named Kuro Otahara. He'd taken 6 lives and held a mystery hostage. Aft claimed the lives of 6 people, and in the hostage situation, he's gotten both students and children involved. Light already has his name and face in clear view, and so he doesn't hesitate to write his name down. He waits for over 40 seconds, and the news report changes, informing everyone of his death. After that, countless other criminals began to die of strange heart attacks, just like that specific day in Shinjuku. It doesn't take much to connect the dots and realize that ground zero for these strange heart attack deaths was in Japan. Many fans assume that the Lindell Taylor trap was what L used to fully lower Light's guard. But what if it started way before that? Prior to Light getting confronted by Lindell Taylor, he's gushing over a Kira website that one of his supporters made, and goes on a long tangent to Ryuk about how he's actually making change and having the effect on the world that he desired. But what if this was all a ruse? What if L was the one who created it? Of course it's a theory, but it's not totally far-fetched.
Oh my-
Not many people seem to realize, but early Death Note Light was actually pretty cautious and structured, at
we
least
go.
before he encountered L. He made sure to not let his Kira activities get in the way of school and always stuck by a strict routine. He has limited time between school and bedtime, and he absolutely must stay at the top of his classes. If he doesn't get enough sleep, he'll lose concentration and begin to slip. However, after he gets positive reinforcement from the website, Light's narcissism and ego begin to quite literally blind him. It also doesn't help that he's publicly called out for something he was just getting congratulated for, and when it comes to the topic of justice, it's a hill that Light is willing to die on. So what if this website was actually created by L? Perhaps it was done in hopes to inflate his ego, make Kira feel more comfortable and powerful than he already does. This would give L the clean opportunity to pull off an attack that not even Kira could foresee. And what do you know? It works like a charm, because it all leads to the infamous Lendell Taylor trap being set, which involves a man appearing on live television and publicly bashing Kira, as well as flaunting the amount of power and influence he has amongst the police. He calls Light evil, which triggers him so badly that he decides to write his name in the notebook and watch him die. But of course, we know this was a trap. L would soon appear on the screen and reveal that the man Light had just killed out of anger was actually a criminal scheduled to be executed today. This also wasn't a live broadcast and was specifically held in the Kanto region of Japan, which fully confirms L's previous deduction of Kira being located in Japan. Now, another topic we have to address regarding the trap is how Light fell for it. A lot of fans have gripes with this trap as they believe it's really easy to avoid, and truth be told, it is. Just ignore L and don't kill Lendell Taylor. Granted, L would have still found out you're in Japan, as he was pretty confident, but confirming it would have taken much longer. But the main question that people tend to have is, how did Light fall for such a simple trap? It all comes down to ego, or more specifically, the Lendell Taylor trap would obviously be easy to avoid if you're not Light, because it was made specifically for Light. At this point in the series, L had a rough sketch of Light's profile, meaning his characteristic, temperament, and overall psychology. He knew how to push the right buttons to get the results that he wanted, which is exactly what happened in Chapter 2. L had a stand-in, call Light out for killing people, and said straight up that he's evil. This upsets Light not just because of his ego, but because he genuinely believes that he is the embodiment of justice. So for someone to challenge his good deeds is an absolute insult in his eyes. There's also the fact that Light completely underestimated L. His guard was completely down because L called him out and made it pretty easy to be taken care of. Light is someone who thinks of all possible scenarios, but not in that very moment. His ego had gotten the better of him. In Light's defense, I will say most people wouldn't have been able to deduce the existence of a super genius detective that's hiding in the shadows. Light has gone unchallenged for all of his life, pretty much. He may as well believe he's the smartest person in Japan. So for someone else to set a trap for him and completely blindside him was, well, unexpected. Most people would hide away in fear or give up the notebook entirely, but this only motivated Light more, and he set out to defeat L and create the new world atop the patches. From here, the police hand in their reports on all possible victims related to Kira, and as L suspected, their names and faces were made public. However, just as it seems like they're closing in on Kira, he completely changes his memo and kills 23 criminals 1 hour apart from each other. This makes the police question as to whether or not Kira is a student, but L clearly acknowledges Kira's attempt at creating discord amongst them. In the eyes of L, Kira is a student, that much is certain. However, he's able to somehow freely control the time of death. L doesn't say it outright, but he knows that this is a direct challenge to him from Kira, as he's blatantly telling L that he has access to police information. Light also reveals that he had already been killing on purpose on a student schedule to make them suspect he's a student, which leads to L finding out. Light, seeing that on the police database, then starts changing his killing patterns, leading to L again realizing that Light is part of the police force in some way. This means that Light actually leads L this whole time. It's not like Light wasn't aware that his own killing patterns were like a student. He didn't just unconsciously do it. It's only said in the manga that he was purposely doing it. Once again, people tend to bash on Light for this decision, and the criticism is understandable. L knows that Kira is in Japan, but it's still a big place. If you play your cards right, switch up the times you kill or even the method that you kill with, you'd be able to throw L off, making it take much longer for him to be found. However, Light wants to be acknowledged by the world. He wants people to know that there's a righteous God out there, casting judgment onto those who commit crimes. He also acted this way to purposely lead L and the police on. It's all a part of his isolation strategy. Rather than fight tooth and nail to figure out who L is, he'll let the police do that for him. Light tells Ryuk that human beings are two-faced creatures, which is true. Nobody trusts L because how could you trust a person that hides his real name and face? Now that L knows that Kira has access to classified information, it won't be long until he starts to investigate the police. In turn, they'll be investigating L. Once they figure out L's identity, Light will simply use the death note and take care of him. However, Light gets distracted by Ray Penba, an FBI agent sent to monitor Light for unusual activity. Ryuk lets him know this, and Light does his best to act natural as he heads back home. Light has to take care of this guy, but getting close to him will be a challenge. This is where Ryuk offers to give Light the Shinigami, but he rejects it, stating that he plans to live and rule the new world for a very very long time, and gaining the eyes will hinder that plan. Instead, Light has a better way to deal with Ray Penber. To start, he uses the notebook to kill 3 criminals via heart attacks, but each of them does something strange before death. The first criminal cuts his finger and draws a pentagram and blood. The second writes a letter, and the third one escapes and dies in a public bathroom. In L's eyes, Kira is doing this to test his power, and in order to get confirmation, he needs the media to act as his source. But in actuality, it's all a misdirection from Light. L spends long periods of time mulling over the bloodied pentagram and letter that the criminals crafted up, which leaves the FBI and police defenseless. Just as L knows Light, Light knows L, or at the very least has a pretty good idea of how he acts. He knows that due to his detective work and the nature of the case, he's going to scrutinize over the most minor details, which will give him enough time to pull off the bus jacking strategy. However, Light is able to kill 2 birds with 1 stone in this specific instance. He's able to distract L and test out the limits of the notebook. He figures out that the notebook can't manipulate a person into traveling impossible distances like going from Japan to France. It also can't draw the face of someone they've never seen, nor can it write information they don't know about, as Light attempts to manipulate a criminal into writing, in quote, "I know L's suspicious of the Japanese police," end quote. Everything has been prepped, and Light proceeds to enact the bus jacking plan. This is a successful Light. With tons of creativity and a slight amount of prep time, Light was able to get the ID of his stalker without incriminating himself or lifting a single finger, that being his name, Ray Penber. He was able to see firsthand how efficient the notebook is when used outside of the box. He waits 1 week to kill Ray Penber, but in the meantime, kills another criminal and has it whip up a strange note in order to distract L. This gives Light enough time to deal with Ray Penber, and he does it in the most efficient way possible. He pre-writes his name in the notebook and has him come to the train station. From here, he threatens him from behind and orders him to board a train. He then asks him to go on his laptop and pull up the names and photographs for the FBI agents in Japan, before telling him to write those names down on a sheet of paper. Ray does as instructed, and once he exits the train, he dies right on time. That Light specified. Something that actually isn't touched upon is that the folder Ray receives from Light is made up of pages from the death note, and in those pages are all the pre-written deaths of the FBI agents. Ray just can't see it because it's been glued over with a piece of paper. After Ray dies, the FBI agents are sent a file with the names and faces of each other, but the times at which they die are random. This was done in order to make sure that no specific agent stood out, making it harder for L to track down which FBI agent Kira made contact with. In just 2 moves, Light has put L on the back foot. The FBI are terrified out of their minds and no longer want to work with him, and what's even worse is that the FBI director informs Sucho that L was investigating them behind closed doors. Nobody trusts L, and he has no support. This is a huge win for Light because he started off at a disadvantage. He didn't know L's name or face, but L knew a great deal about him, as shown from their first encounter. Light was such a significant opponent that he forced L, the greatest detective in the world, to actually reveal his face to a select few individuals whom he trusts. But of course, it's also part of L's plan to also narrow down the team of the police to a select few who he trusts, as Sucho reveals. However, Light's ego gets the better of him. He just can't help himself, and in a moment of desperation and utter manipulation, he kills Ray Penber's fiancée, Naomi Misora. Due to her sheer wit and intelligence, she was able to figure out that Kira can kill a number of different ways and is not limited to heart attacks. If this secret got out, Light would be playing defense for a good amount of time. Now, I'm not saying that taking care of Naomi Misora in that moment was the wrong move, but rather he should have planned it more. If Naomi joined the investigation, it definitely would have been harder for Light to navigate his battle against L, but we're still forgetting that he would have had the memory loss plan to enact, which was the ultimate trump card that turned the tides of the battle against L. Killing Naomi Misora just causes Light a lot of grief in the long run, but pretty much the cat and mouse slash back and forth for these 2 geniuses have been constant. Now L really has to pull something that can knock Kira's calmness and get him more scared. After rewatching the footage over and over again, L points out that Ray Penber held onto an envelope as he entered the ticket gate, but upon exiting the train and dying, the envelope is no longer with him. He was also looking at someone in the train, which could be Kira from L's perspective. He's then told by Watari that Ray Penber's fiancée had visited the station, but now disappeared. He connects the dots and hypothesizes that Kira had something to do with this, before narrowing down the search to 2 families. Before Ray Penber died, he was watching the Kitamura household and the Yagami household. He proposes that cameras be installed to watch the family, and Sucho reluctantly agrees. Light gets what he wanted, but it comes at a cost. He's close to L, but far too close to make a move. Luckily, he's able to figure out that someone had been in his room based on how the door handle had been positioned. He has a specific way of leaving the door handle whenever he leaves in order to know if someone had been in his room. For extra insurance, he placed the paper slip down below and places a mechanical pencil on the side of the hinges. That pencil had been snapped, the piece of paper had been returned to its original position, and even the handle was placed exactly as it was. Light manipulates Ryuka into finding out the location and number of all the cameras that L placed into his room, while he focuses on distracting his father and L by just acting normal. This turns L's sus meter up, and a lot of people seem to have a problem with this. Fans believe that L was unfairly obsessed with Light just because he was too normal. On the off chance that he wasn't Kira, Death Note would be a series about a genius high schooler being stalked, harassed, and traumatized by a shut-in detective who's convinced he's a supernatural murderer.
Bro.
Sounds like a fanfiction.
Wow,
However, L did have reasons to protect Light. The way he acts is just off-putting because he's so perfect. He's careful not to make mistakes and does things far too blatantly, like reading an adult magazine specifically in front of a camera, getting comfy and cozy. As L says himself, it's like he's trying to force people into believing that he has nothing to hide, but that just makes him more suspicious. Very narcissistic. However, L decides to give Light the benefit of the doubt and play a broadcast which states Interpol to send a total of 1,500 detectives from various countries to Japan to help solve the Kira case. L proposed this strategy because he believed it would make Kira suspicious, maybe even nervous, and cause him to slip up or just do something that would lead to the task force catching him. However, Light literally just can't help himself and publicly mocks L as he calls out the fact that this broadcast is idiotic and Kira would see something like this, specifically saying, "This is just a ruse to pressure Kira." But it's pretty obvious, so I bet that Kira's figured it out by now. L smiles and laughs, and in the anime, he peers forward, very interested. This signals L, now for the first time in the series thus far, that he has figured out, or in fact knows, Light is Kira. He knows because this is exactly what Kira would do. And rather, Light himself knows that he's actually talking to L. It's a subtle hint in the entire series that not a lot of people catch. Light already knows that L can know he's Kira all he wants, unconsciously or consciously. But what matters is, can he prove it? For Light to stop L, he has to get close to him any means necessary. Light has to take the aggressive approach. After being cooked in episode 2 of the series, or chapter 3, this is the only option for Light, who's got nailed down, and then ever since then has been doing a masterclass of cat and mouse. The only option for Light since was to attack. Could have lowered L's suspicion, but that doesn't matter. The reason why Light vs. L is such an interesting matchup is that Light's ego is what gets him into such precarious and compromising situations. If Light didn't have an ego and completely detached himself from battling L and just being Kira, this series would have gone much differently. Everyone can claim that they could just sit in their room and write on the notebook and do the job efficiently, but that's not what Light wants. He wants a challenge, just like how L wants a challenge. But also, in my opinion, this is the only logical way / point if your goal is to get rid of L. How else are you going to do it without getting close? Albeit it's a very risky game, but of course it would be a boring series if Light weren't so flawed in that sense. One thing to note is that he can turn his flaw, at least for now, into big W's. Ryuk then reveals that 64 cameras have been placed into Light's bedroom, which leads to the infamous potato chip strategy. He places a small TV inside the bag and has a strip of the notebook taped to the bottom. While studying for his entrance exams, he can write names in the notebook and eventually dispose of the evidence. In Light's eyes, this should absolutely clear him in the perspective of the police, because criminals still died even though Light was monitored for 24 hours at a time. The task force think that Light has been cleared, but L still can't shake the feeling of doubt that he feels when he looks at Light. He finds it even stranger that Kira can kill and supposedly act natural, assuming that this is Light Yagami who is Kira. Even when a person thinks about killing, their face changes. Their pupils tense up, and it's obvious that something is wrong. This just supports my previous explanation on why L sussing Light out in the very beginning was not unwarranted. His psychology was genuinely perplexing to L, and didn't make sense. Light didn't realize.
I have to look this up because I don't know what the design is, and I kind of need it. Productive Metal Works. Productive Metal Works. Okay, wait, how do I...
This is Productive Metalworks, a more modern take on the Tinker's kind of foundry that we have.
Okay.
To make your foundry, you're going to need a few different blocks. And the idea of this is that you can actually process tons of ores really, really quickly.
Yep.
So we are going to need 1, heating coils.
Okay, wait. Heating coil.
We're going to need fire bricks. We're going to need a tank.
Heating coil. Wait, whoa. Heating coil. Fire brick. Tank.
Controller.
A controller.
some drains, and
Drain. Basin casting.
some taps.
Tap.
We're going to need a few other bits as well once we've built the foundry. You can make it pretty much any size you like. I'm going to be showing you a 5x5x5 option. So you're going to start off by laying out the groundwork. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. And what you need in the middle are the liquid heating coils. And this is what is actually going to heat the foundry to process your ores.
Okay, so I'm making 3x3. Okay.
Around it, you're going to put the bricks. Now, these bricks are dyeable, and you can place them either way. So this way or that way, you can see here. You don't have to put the corners. That is completely up to you for aesthetical purposes only. You can obviously make it higher as well to make it be able to process more ores. I'm going to make mine too high, but it's completely up to you. These can get really, really big. Then what we're going to do is place down our controller. This is how we will access the UI of the foundry, as you can see here, with 2 tabs. This is how we...
Bang!
will access the UI of the foundry, as you can see here, with 2 tanks. One is for your lava, or however you're heating it, and then the other one is for your liquid molten metals that you'll be smelting. So how do we get the lava in there? Well, you need a foundry tank. And you can see in here these liquid heating coils are now ready to be used as the controller is working. And you'll know it's working because it looks like this. So once you've placed your tank, we can put our lava into it. And you can put this in via tanks and pipes, etc. from other mods if you wish. Then on the other side, I'm going to put some drains. And this is where we'll be accessing the liquid metal. But we also need to put some foundry taps onto these drains to be able to access it out. I'm then going to place a casting basin, and I'm also going to place a casting table as well. And what you can see here is that we have an ingot cast, we have a casting table as well. And what you can see...
Okay, so if I put obsidian into that, should I have obsidian now. I think I have obsidian. I feel like I got obsidian somewhere. Obsidian. Gray paste plus the dust. So, oh wow. So it's actually like weird as shit to make that. Nice too. Combiner. Man. I think I understand it now. I think. So if I break all of this, and then I put 3 buckets of lava into there, and I start melting down the obsidian. Is that gonna work? Okay, I'm melting down the obsidian. W. Okay. Now I need a chest for you. Yeah. Bang, bang. I'll get bang, 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 bang. Mama, I'll just do it for fun. So what I need to do is make plates. Electrium plate. Where's my electrium plate? I know I made one. Do I have no plates? I know I made one, no? Electrium. Am I blind? Am I clicking both eyes? What's happening? Cause like I had to make them. Oh, there it is. Okay. On the outside, always looking in, will I ever be more than I've always been? Cause I'm tapping on the glass. I'm waving through a window. I try to speak, but nobody can hear, so I wait around for an.
Key here is that we have an ingot cast, and that. So for this, we put molten by combining carbon. That's so we can make our cast. So I'm going to go into the control of iron. So what I'm going to do is make up that so we can make our cast. Is very molten. Left click them to do that. Is a casting table ingot. Say an iron ingot. I place it on the casting table and then click the foundry tap, and it's going to.
Wait, so like why isn't it working now? Hello? Oh, I need molten steel. How do I make molten steel? Carbon and iron, so just coal and iron. Okay. Cause I'm tapping on the glass. I'm waving through a window. I try to speak, but nobody can hear, so I wait around for an answer to appear while I'm watching people pass. I'm waving through a window. Can anybody see? Is anybody waving? And there's nobody around. When I'm falling in a forest and there's nobody around, do you ever really crash or even make a sound? When you're falling in a forest and there's nobody around, do you ever really crash or even make a sound? When you're falling in a forest and there's nobody around, do you ever really crash or even make a sound? Did I even make a sound? Did I even make a sound? It's like I never made a sound. Will I ever make a sound? On the outside, always looking in. Will I ever be more than I've always been? Cause I'm tapping on the glass. I'm waving through a window. I try to speak, but nobody can hear, so I wait around for an. Alloy smelter, you metallurgic infuser, So wait, I infuse enriched iron with coal. And to get enriched iron, I need coal and iron. Enriched, okay, so just a lot of coal and a lot of iron. Heard. Where are my torches? Hello? Thank you. You're falling in a forest and there's nobody around. Do you ever really crash or even make a sound when you're falling in a forest and there's nobody around? Do you... Fuck. Why are we getting mixed up, bro? What the fuck? Why are we actually getting mixed up though? I don't like that. I need a sustainable way to get coal, bro. Like this, I can't go on like this. Oh my god. Oh my god. It's a good thing I did it wrong. It's a good thing I did it wrong. Oh fuck. Oh fuck. Wait a minute. How to use external heater. External heater immersive engineering. Bro, I told myself I wasn't going to like look stuff up.
Place it down, and as you can see, it has vents on every side except for the side you vanilla furnace. So any vanilla furnace. Now what this one does is with a cell here, but any vanilla furnace, it will heat up heat unit. So as that raises up, that's 8 each. Once it reaches the top, it'll actually give a boost to production speed, so you can see this is going way faster than a vanilla furnace would. So I say put the power on the top, so you can actually surround this thing with multiple furnaces, which will increase your
Hello, questing RAM.
very, very useful.
I will not be doing that actually. All good though.
Free sources, passive energy production.
All good, questing RAM. Thank you for the offer,
It's not
twin.
that hard to use that and keep this thing running. And that's it for this one. If you found it helpful, like, comment, subscribe.
Thank you, big bro. Now I can get back to what I actually want to listen
The
to.
more modest he acted in front of Elle, the more suspicious he looked. Elle decides to take matters into his own hands and personally confronts Light. And I just want to say, this is what made Elle such a challenging opponent for Light. Nero and Mello were the halves of Elle, but the original will always be superior. Elle was the perfect detective. He knew when to sit back, analyze the facts, and come up with the deductions. But he also knew when to attack and hard counter his opponents, or just pressure them into making moves that would cause them to slip up. Elle never did anything the same. He was always switching up his angle and keeping Light on his toes. That's why Light was so shocked when Elle attended his university and straight up told him that he was the person that Light has been trying his hardest to kill for weeks. Who would expect a move like that? Something so forward and open. It's also insanely impressive that Light was able to lock in and not visually react to Elle's words, but rather acknowledge him and show respect. In the anime, he looks kind of normal, but in the manga, he is actually sweating and tensing a bit, like his leg is moving or twitching or whatever. Once Light sees Elle off and gets back home, he's absolutely furious, and his anger shocks Ryuk, as he's usually so calm and composed. Obviously, the ego is taking the driver's seat, as Light says he's never been so humiliated in his life. Even if Light wanted to kill Elle, in that moment, he couldn't. The alias that Elle used was Hideki Ryuka, which is the same name as the famous pop star. If Light kills him, he may accidentally kill the singer, which would basically be admitting to Elle that he is Kira. Light is a lion and Elle is a gazelle. The former has all the tools needs to take care of its prey, but just can't due to certain restrictions. Light admits he's been outplayed, but he doesn't let that loss define him. He's upset, but he realizes that this is an amazing situation. All this time, he wanted to get close to L so he can kill him, and the latter has broken the ice for him. All he needs to do is keep the mask on tight, and eventually an opportunity will present itself to finish off L. A great trait about Light is his ability to pivot and adapt, even if things go wrong. He's never sulking in defeat, he's always on the move and ready to try out the next plan. And by the time you're prepared, he's already 10 steps ahead and has a counter for your counter. This eventually leads to Light and L hanging out, briefly duking it out in a tennis match, which is more so a battle of ideology. But the real kicker is when L once again blindsides Light by straight up saying he suspects that he's Kira. In order to lower Light's guard, he throws out a small percentage, which if you didn't know is a lie. Whenever L says he suspects someone or makes a deduction, he's usually very certain. A 5% to L would actually represent 95%, meaning that as early as chapters 20 to 22, L was certain that Light was Kira. However, this shouldn't really be a surprising thing to fans who are familiar with Death Note, as I also revealed before, as L is incredibly intelligent. Plus, the problem was never figuring out if Light was Kira or not. L always knew, and this is a fact that should be accepted. The real problem was getting evidence that L could use to throw Light in prison, which is practically impossible since L is dealing with the supernatural. That's why Light feels so confident to just gloat and hit L with random subtle hints. They then head to a cafe and L tests out Light's deductive reasoning ability, but in actuality this is a test to see if the chances of Light being Kira go up or go down. Since I'll be covering this test more in depth in my upcoming Death Note analysis video, I'll only briefly touch upon it, but still get my point across. In chapter 21 of Death Note, L shows Light 3 images, which Kira had given L in this order. L, do you not, gods of death, R, do not eat other than apples, only eat apples. Putting them together in the same order Kira gave, it becomes L, do you know, gods of death only eat apples. Why is this significant? Because Kira would be able to recognize the ordering of these photos, because he sent them to L in the order that they are being presented in. However, this is actually a layered trap. He would be distracted by the fact that L is trying to use his own message against him to realize the numbers attached on the back are specifically for ordering the message differently, whereas the second and third pictures are swapped within the sentence. However, someone smart that isn't Kira would notice the possible sentence that can be created, and if they get preoccupied with the sentence they discovered, they wouldn't be able to notice the purpose of the numbers either. So essentially, L was observing Light closely, what sort of expression he'd make. But this trap is absolutely not as simplistic as one may think. It's simple on the surface, but a bit more complex once we get into it. Light passes the first test, but fails the second. He fails to process the information quickly and messes up on a basic grammatical cue. But Light digs himself deeper into the hole and gets defensive by saying, I would have been right if there were only 3. This leads to him failing the third layer of the trap, but Light is able to clutch up and lower his ego just a bit by admitting he didn't think that there could be a 4th image. Obviously there wasn't, but he says this to appease L, but the damage has already been done. It increased the probability of Light being Kira in his mind, specifically by 3% and eventually even 7%, which count as 93 and 97% respectively. This is because Light barely passed traps that a person who's Kira wouldn't overthink. Eventually we have Strucho having a heart attack from stress-related reasons rather than Kira. Here L and Light have clashes again, with this whole little scene or part of the manga being one of the biggest foreshadows in the entire series, foreshadowing Light's eventual incarceration and even Light subtly revealing things that he probably shouldn't have. Things like knowing Ray Pemba was actually investigating him, unless that was told off scene, but the manga doesn't really present an off-scene moment, but maybe it was, but it's pretty much weird, and L kind of picks up on that in the anime. There's a whole
Alright.
We'll need a super powerful alloy that's usually only obtainable via the world engine. Problem is, yours is too weak to handle the infusion method, even if you had the resources. Our records show there are corrupted vaults out there, hiding forgotten materials from ages past. WERK isn't fully aware of what awaits you. I'd recommend gearing up with at least some diamond gear, just in case.
Wait, hello?
Find and explore the vault, and infuse the train casings with the alloy you find within.
Okay.
Bring me 20 of those alloy-infused
Find the
casings.
vault and infuse the train casings with alloy you find within. Ooh, shit. Ooh, shit. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. What? Wait, they giving me a little too much to just buy, no? Okay. I mean, shit. If you insist, fuck is you talking about? Okay. I mean, lava, chicken. Steve's lava chicken, yeah, it's tasty as hell. Yeah, we're running the barrel. Crispy and juicy, it's a lot of time. Lava, chicken. Steve's lava chicken, yeah, it's tasty as hell. Train. Oh, I have a seat. Okay. So like, wait, what do I need to do now? Locating the vault. Get compass. Okay. It's fine. Oh, excuse me. Wait, can't I smelt this down for iron? Are we? Am I having a laugh? I'm having a laugh. Can I smelt you down? No. Can I smelt you down? Yes. What about you? No. Okay. What about you? What about you? Oh, molten diamonds. Let me get a couple in there. Let me get a couple in there. Let me get a couple in there. Yeah, you know what? Fuck it. There. That's enough. Okay. So I could either go chickens or this thing. I kind of want to go chickens. I kind of want to go chickens. So if I want to go chickens, then I would need. So how fork do I work these chickens? Chickens will need a place to lay eggs and or resources, which is what the roost is for. While chickens are in the roost, they will need seeds matching their tier to produce resources. These tiered seeds are created using souls. The higher the chicken level, the more resources. You can rename your roost. I'm using the chicken control. Okay. So, like, how do I get a seed, though? Like, I literally just need a seed. Crafting, loot fabricator, chest loot, entity drops, gameplay loot. Like, it's not. Okay, because like I have a lava chicken. That's the problem. Where's my egg? I should have one egg. Oh my gosh, I have a. Okay, wait. How do I make a tier 1? A chicken soul. Soul extraction. What the fuck? Like, okay. Okay, so what I need to do now is stick. Make this. Make this. So 2 furnaces, 2 bone. Furnace, bone. Lava. Chicken. Fernite. Bone. What the hell? Y'all are fornicating. Oh my gosh. I didn't even realize. He's just going to town. Shit. Okay, so Fernite bone bottle. So I need sand. Crafting table. Oh, my backpack is messy. It was very messy. I don't like it. To make stone crafting tables. Whatever, bruh. Soul extract. My chicken wrench. Oh. So, to get the soul, it takes... What the fuck? Okay. So, do I just pray and use it? I'm gonna use one. Bang. So I need another... need another feather. Yes. Loot B! Save me! Yes! Oh my gosh, 2 eggs. Honey, don't care. Quartz, kind of really don't care, but it's fine. It's fine. Okay. Bang! Bang! Fuck! It's fine. Wait, did this book explain how to... Damn, tough. Okay, got rid of my damn bucket, bro. Fuck! Where did I put my bucket? Here, thank you. Let me have some fun. I'm going very, very far off script, but like it's fun. Did I make? Yeah. Yo. Oh. Well, don't care. I really should just work on my damn chickens. I won't lie. Yo, what's up, big bro? Here. You got twine. You got twine. You got twine. You got twine. Whoa, whoa! What just happened to me? Hello? What was that? I forgot how to. Transfer matching to storage. Shift to transfer. Oh, Shibar. Okay. I should probably work on like I don't know what I need to do. That'd probably be good. I think. Anyways. So. Miss me. So I need a cow to spawn. Ooh, I want to just have fun. I won't lie. I want to just have fun. Wait. C. Yes. Congratulations on getting acquainted with your new cat, with a brand new cat. This tablet will serve as a reference menu for this model with certain entries like this one, or tutorials introducing concepts and spell slinger. Don't worry, this is the longest tutorial as it covers all the basics. Our links and can be clicked. To start with spell, you'll need a spell programmer. Additionally, to actually execute, you'll need a better CAD than the one you have right now. And a CAD assembler. CAD assembler. First, it assembles a CAD from its component parts. Second, it loads non-empty spell bullets to CAD. Build a CAD workshop. Wait. At PSI. Site. Oh, fuck. So that's actually like really expensive, and I can't do that right now. Oh. Mm-hmm. Okay. Um. Yeah. I'm gonna put you away. I'm gonna put you away. Put that away. Oh no! Oh no! 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 I need to stop yawning. It's not late. Mm-mm. You never take me to Bangladesh. You never cook me sausage on an open flame. Never anoint me with oil. Never write me a novel. You never poison the mojitos of my enemies. Oh my fucking yo. If I have to go diagonal another, like, I don't know. I'm lagging too. Oh, I'm gonna have a good day. I'm gonna have a really, really good day, I think. Yep. That's what I'm gonna do. 450. I'm good. 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 Super glue. To create thing. You never take me to Bangladesh. You never cook me sausage on an open flame. Never anoint me with oil. Never write me a novel. You never poison the mojitos of my enemies. You never drink me a marzipan. Take you out. I'll put you. Oh fuck. Hello. Thank you. I'll put you here. I'm just gonna make this shit a line at this point. Fuck it. And then I'll take you. Oh, I get to gamble again. What if I throw it on the ceiling this time? Oh, shit ain't work. Sausage on an open flame. Never anoint me with oil. Never write me a novel. You never poison the mojitos of my enemies. It's like you don't care. It's like you don't care. Took you out. And then this is fine. That's fine. That's fine. I can rock with that. I wanna rock with you all night. Sunlight. I wanna rock with you all night. I wanna rock with you all night to see it through the sunlight. I wanna rock with you all night. Also, wait, I actually didn't know this could do that. Cause like, oh, okay, I look, you want to test this. I look, you have to test it. Now that where's the other company? Fuck did I put it? Compass. Compass. Compass? Am I blind? Oh, here it is. Are we dead? No. Okay, so where's the other one now? Healing spray. Don't need you. Arcane growth. So all I needed to do, all I need to do is get within the vicinity, and then I can just open a time door. Is that real? That shouldn't be real, right? Right? Max range 256.
Little video on that on YouTube. Many people have seen it. I've mentioned it before. You can go see it right here. L even test lied here by mentioning that Sayu Yagami could actually be Kira due to
There's
The
no such
best
thing as the
and worst
perfect anime.
anime
Even the
ever.
greatest
The
anime ever
Promised
made has at least a
Neverland,
couple
bro.
things
Oh
wrong with it. Just
my
like how in
gosh.
F for My Brotherhood, the comedy isn't really that funny to me, or how in Evangelion, you have to become an investigative journalist just to figure out its ending. But these shows are at least consistently incredible throughout their runtimes, always leaving you on the edge of your seat across multiple episodes or seasons, unlike one anime. The Promised Neverland had one of the most depressing foursome grace I have ever seen, in the sense that season 1 was an instant classic, a true masterpiece, while season 2 is just despised by the majority of people who watch it, for good reason too.
Season 2 is like it's been written by Tommy Wiseau overdosing on ketamine.
In this video, I'll be going through
Whoa,
The Promised
Charlie,
Neverland Season 1 and Season 2,
whoa.
highlighting why Season 1 is so fantastic and why its sequel is such a disappointment. There will be major spoilers for the entire series in this video, but just watch the
Big
video
major
anyway.
spoilers.
So, let's begin.
Oh wait, I should pin.
The show begins with
new
three kids,
one.
Emma, Ray, and Norman, behind a giant gate, looking beyond and wondering what lies within it. This is already a great establishing shot. The intimidatingly large scale of everything inside the gate tells us that whatever does lie beyond it is probably something not to be messed with. Skipping ahead, we realize that Emma, Ray, and Norman are all in an orphanage, accompanied by a bunch of other kids and one guardian, the mum. Now, as you probably noticed, this isn't a normal orphanage. All the kids have numbers on their necks like cattle. There's only one adult in the entire facility, and as we see later, they all have to do these oddly intimidating exams, despite being so young. During a game of tag, we are shown our three main characters' strengths
did I
and
just not
weaknesses.
read?
Emma is physically stronger and more athletic than the others. Norman is the polar opposite to Emma, lacking physical strength but is a complete genius. And Ray often avoids confrontation, sitting aside while the others play tag and instead reading whilst tracking the
35
time.
blocks
In another game
for
of tag, the
closer
three stumble
color
upon a
with it.
fence deep in the forest, explaining how their mum always says to never venture beyond it as it can be potentially dangerous, with others soon
I'm
following
actually
and
about to
setting
be
their
sick,
goals
aren't
for
I?
once they leave the orphanage. And then we see Connie. Now, Connie may seem like a random side character at first, but her role in the story is extremely important. This is further proof by the following scene, in which it is revealed that Connie's going to be leaving the orphanage because she got adopted. Once she leaves, Emma notices that she left her toy behind, a stuffed
Did my
bunny.
mouse just die?
And so, accompanying each other, both Emma and Norman venture into the now open gate and find a truck. With no one around, the two look into the truck.
Whoa!
and-
Oi, 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 bruv. Oi, oi, bruv. She bar.
With the only sign of life being thorny flowers coming out of her chest, the two freak out and accidentally cause some noise, with someone or something peeking out from under the truck. They see three giant demons drooling over Connie's
really
lifeless
sick right
body,
now.
explaining how all humans produced on this farm
NLSTS.
are high quality meats intended for the rich. Putting two and two together, we figure out that this farm they talk of is actually the orphanage, and that their mum, now known as Isabella, is just a cattleman, raising the kids to just have them slaughtered and devoured by demons. Running away, Emma and Norman make it back to the orphanage, orphanage and, after a brief crisis, decide to escape with everyone. But unfortunately for them, they left the bunny behind at the gate, and it's picked up by none other than Isabella. And that was just the first episode. How the viewer learns so much yet even more is left up in the air is done in such an amazing way. The next day, Emma and Norman come to an agreement that they have to act like nothing happened, otherwise they'll be caught and probably killed. Norman then figures out that the quality of the meat varies from certain factors such as intelligence and age, but older and smarter being higher quality. Coming up with a brief plan, the two decide to get everyone out during the day, then realizing that not only will there be demons coming after them, but also there's a giant war between them and the outside world. Returning to the group after hearing a bell, it is revealed that a child has gone missing, and so Isabella looks for and retrieves the child extremely quickly, leaving Norman questioning if there's trackers implanted on every orphan. We then see Ray looking out of the window and, oh my god, it's literally me! Despite suspicions arising from both Isabella and Ray, Emma and Norman meet at night to find supplies in order to get over the wall. Before they get a chance to test them out, however, Ray shows himself and questions what exactly happened at the gate that night. Learning the truth, Ray is at first hesitant to help them with their plan due to the vast amount of roadblocks in their way, but eventually subsides and agrees to help them. But once again, their plans are halted when a new caregiver arrives at the orphanage.
Oh well.
Sister Crone, along with an infant baby called Carol. During a meeting, the three discuss this new and other roadblocks, along with how to figure out where the tracking devices are implanted on the human body. And with Carol still being a baby, Emma sets off to find her and see if she has any scars on her body, which would lead to a tracking device. But before that, Sister Crone and Isabella meet and discuss her newfound duties within the orphanage. In fact, Isabella also has an idea of who figured out what the kids are really raised for. Skipping forward to Emma, and she discovers a bump behind Connie's ear that may lead to the discovery of a tracker. Whilst a new character begins to become curious, Gilda. At night, we see Isabella talking to a mysterious figure using a radio system about how 3 of the kids are ready to be shipped out, with a jump cut to a group of demons saying how they can't mess up his meal and how they should offer their praises to him. This is never brought up again, and you'll see later on why. The next day, the 3 kids decide that to get everyone out, they should play tag, just so the little ones don't freak out and so they can practice without suspicion. This, in return, makes Sister Crone suspicious, so she wants to play tag as well. And so during it, she's able to intimidate everyone with her speed and strength, and it seems as if she's already suspicious of Emma, as before catching her, she states that if she saw what happened that night, then she's on her side. Oh yes, I would definitely trust the average woman without makeup, jump scaring me like it's Five Nights at Freddy's. Later that day, Emma, Ray, and Norman begin to suspect that there's a traitor among the kids leaking info to Isabella, due to the fact that she seems to not really be doing that much to figure out who saw the truth. And this is where the psychological aspect of the show comes into play heavily. In the next scene, Emma glances at Isabella, Sister Crone, Gilda, and others just staring at her.
I don't know why I've been feeling really anxious about like my surroundings, and I don't know, it's been so weird because I feel like there are people like just pounding at my door for no reason, and now like whenever I play games like this, or when I'm not playing Valorant and I'm fully like when I'm playing Valorant, I'm fully distracted. Like it would take like someone touching me to like distract me, or like me feeling hungry or something. But like when I play like Minecraft and especially in moments like these when there's nothing going on, like I'm anxious as shit, bro. The angle at which this thing is at is so bad for me because it's not actually diagonal, but it's not straight either, and I don't like that. So I think I'm just gonna mine straight.
Making her freak out and become paranoid. Because in reality, the kids are pretty much powerless against these demons and adults. It's just like when you try to hide that you've broken something as a kid, but your parents definitely know, they're just waiting for you to say it. As Norman places something unknown in a bag, we cut to Sister Crone and Isabella having a little meeting. It is here that Isabella reveals that she knows what Sister Crone is up to, but this has no effect on her, because she just goes to her room and destroys her doll. As strange as this scene really is, it does show us that Isabella does have a lot of psychological power as a human, and that Sister Crone just don't give a fuck. The next day, the 3 decide to play tag and escape as teams, just because the little ones would just perish by themselves, and that they should tell
I can add
Don
this
and Gilda,
as a
the other
source.
eldest orphans, the truth about their situation. And after playing
Browser
around a tag just to
source.
practice everyone's escape,
Video.
Norman reveals that the escape will be carried out in 10 days on November the 8th. Emma's reaction being one
Does
of
this
concern
work?
for not having. There's no such thing as the perfect anime. Even the greatest anime ever made has at least a couple things wrong with it. Just like how in FMA Brotherhood, the comedy isn't really that funny to me,
don't
or
like
how in
it.
Evangelion, you have to become an investigative journalist
I don't
just to
like
figure out its ending.
I don't like it. I don't
Having
like
enough
that.
time
I
to
don't like
practice
that. I
is
don't
pretty
like that.
justified,
It's
but
not- it's
Ray
not-
almost seems a bit agitated, saying how they should have had at least a month until the next shipping date. When I first saw this, I immediately knew something wasn't right. Even with Norman's fine judgment on this escape date, Ray just seems annoyed unnecessarily. That night, the three talk to Gilda and Don, with Gilda already being suspicious, but Don being such a brainlet, he just thinks they're joking. With a little bit of convincing and lying from Norman, Don and Gilda agree to help with the plan, with Norman laying a trap just in case they're informants, that being if one of them goes searching for what Norman hid under his bed earlier, being a rope, then they're the informant. That night, Gilda slips out of their room and goes to speak with Sister Crone, while an unknown person slips a note under Isabella's door, saying that the rope is underneath Norman's bed. Turns out that Gilda was called to Sister Crone's room for a well-being checkup, but when she figures out that Gilda knows everything, she gets up in her face and does some looks-maxing shit. Like, look at that jawline, dude. She's fucking Giga Chad. So now we know that Gilda isn't the traitor, but what about Don? The next night, Norman and Ray check the spot for the rope, with it now being taken. As Ray confirms that it's Don being the traitor, Norman ignores him completely and instead points the finger right at Ray, saying that he's the traitor. This revelation was done extremely well, because although Ray was definitely suspicious with a lot of things, there were scenes where Don and Gilda are both the same, speaking to Isabella or just staring at Emma. Ray explains how he's been Isabella's subordinate for a long time, saying how he's known what really goes on at the orphanage for a while now, but instead of cutting him off completely, Norman just asks for 3 things from him. 1, to continue to spend time with everyone like before and to guarantee their safety. 2, release all the info he has with them. And 3, come to their side instead of Isabella's. From Norman's request, it's revealed that Ray was the one who pushed Norman and Emma into seeing the truth and thus putting together a plan. So Ray has been pulling the strings for a long time, pretty much, cooperating with Isabella so he doesn't get shipped out right away, and that if he gave her info, he would be rewarded with so-called drunk from her perspective, which in return led to Ray figuring out how to break the tracking devices. But even with Ray's monologue, he's still one to be trusted. He's acting pretty mental, and he even says that he's not an enemy, but also isn't an ally. And under only one condition, he'll become their ace and give them info about Isabella whilst leaking lies to her as well. That condition is to trick Emma and only escape with the 3 of them, Don and Gilda, as the little ones would be a burden on their escape. With Norman reluctantly agreeing, Ray leaves to meet with Isabella and, like he promised, didn't sell them out to Isabella. But with some questions answered, even more realized. We know that Ray was the traitor, but who's really pulling the string? Ray seems like he's got the upper hand over Isabella, but how much does she really know about their plan? Before those questions can even begin to be answered, I wanted to share an example of a filler scene in the show, because although they don't add a lot to the overall plot, they do to each character and their personality. For example, in one of Norman's dreams, he imagines being right at the exit to the wall, but as he looks back around, everyone is dead, with the same flowers growing out of Connie growing out of everyone as well. As Norman notices Emma dead on the floor, he grits onto her, just hoping she has any life left in her. That is until
multiple hours if I really wanted to, but like at the same time, I feel like
although this scene adds little to nothing to the show, it's still a great reminder of just how terrifying their situation really is. The next day, the 3 meet up and Ray comes out and just straight up says to Emma that he's the traitor. Emma, obviously dumbfounded, questions why he would even be Isabella's subordinate. Ray then explains that he would have told them everything when they got back from the gate that night, but they left the bunny behind and so he had to cover things up for them. Later that night, all 5 of the kids meet up with Ray sharing some info, that being how Isabella disappears into a secret room between a bedroom and her own room every night at 8. Further adding that she goes there to speak to headquarters and that the security measures on the room are unknown and it's probably a bad idea to go check. But of course, Don, being the absolute fucking genius that he is, decides to go anyway with Gilda following. Gilda is at least hesitant to do so, but goddamn there is nothing but mush and TV static going on in Don's brain. Although they do eventually find the secret room, they find it to be locked as the door to Isabella's bedroom opens up. Turns out it's not Isabella, but it's actually Phil, a character that seems insignificant right now, but it's actually pretty integral to the entire series. Over in a separate room, the main 3 are again pondering their escape and things they need to consider. The escape plan has 3 steps. 1, get over the wall and escape. 2, get away from the orphanage safely. And 3, establish a way to survive outside and become self-reliant. Now for the time being, that last step seems like a no-brainer, but as we'll see in the 2nd season, it's just kind of executed very poorly. And back to Doodlehead Don, and he's just successfully stolen
Doodlehead
Isabella's key to the secret room. Successfully being a bit of an overstatement. Switching back to our main three, and Emma has just revealed someone who has the possibility of being an ally. William Minerva, the previous owner of many of the orphanage's books that might just be conveying a message to the children through them, with that message being shown through Morse code. I really like this. In a lot of games and anime, a secret message is usually figured out through finding fucking pieces of paper, or a spooky voice recording of a man dropping a couple turds in the toilet. And although using Morse code as a substitute isn't that special, it was just nice to see a bit more thought put into it. With Norman completing the code, it reads run, doubt, danger, truth, monster, and farm, with the three concluding that it's likely an ally from the outside world, trying to help them, and just maybe they think there could be human civilization beyond the wall. Switching back to Don and Gilda, the two have managed to get into Isabella's secret room, finding Connie's stuffed bunny, along with other mementos from already harvested kids. This is massive, as Norman before lied and said that Connie and the other children were still alive, with this new revelation contradicting that. Whilst that happens, Norman figures out the final page of Morse code, reading Promise, along with a book with absolutely no Morse code. As Don stumbles into another bookshelf, another secret room opens up, revealing multiple communication devices, and after some back and forth between the two, they hear Isabella enter the bedroom. Narrowly escaping her, the two go to meet up with the rest of the group, with a meeting commencing later that evening. With Don understandably confronting the group on their actual situation, the three reveal the truth to the pair, and after some conflict within the group, all is well and apologies are given. This entire sequence was really good. It really puts a lot of humanity into Don and Gilda, showing us that they aren't just random throwaway characters, but are instead important to everyone's own well-being and the overall story. The next day, the group begins preparations for an investigation on the outside world past the wall, with Ray planning to give Isabella false info to create a situation where she wouldn't look at their trackers, as we are also told that Ray's shipment might be a bit closer than we think. As the group walk deeper into the forest, we see Sister Crone mewing at the kids beside a tree, with her then revealing that she knows that they know the truth, and proposes an idea to join forces. As she reveals cattle numbers on her neck, Sister Crone explains that girls who meet certain requirements before being shipped will be given two options, either to become a mum or die. But even as a mum, you'll be installed with a chip so that if you take even one step outside the farm, you'll be electrocuted and killed. They eventually agree to join forces, with Sister Crone agreeing to let them escape. That night, after a meeting with the group discussing Sister Crone's possible influences, Emma and Norman go to meet with her, whilst Isabella finds and opens a package containing a suitcase and a letter. Ooh, who is it for? I don't know. Back to Emma and Norman, the two ask Sister Crone to show them the tool that receives the signal from the tracking devices. Once handed to them, Sister Crone explains how it only shows the current location of someone, but it can't specify who it is. With that, she also confirms that the tracking devices are in the back of the child's ear, but that she doesn't know how to break them, just that it sends out a signal to the tool and to headquarters when it is broken. With the only known way to contradict that being to cut off your own ear, Sister Crone suggests using the tools from the infirmary to do so. The pair then asks Sister Crone her age, that being 26, in which she reveals that Isabella is 31. But as they learn about the area's low security and as Sister Crone grows more intimidating, the pair decide to leave. And just before the night ends, Ray receives his last reward, a camera.
I see. Something shows up here at first.
The next day, the group go over their plan to investigate the outside world, with Norman and Emma climbing the wall for inspections. With our three MCs moving to a new location, Norman reveals to Ray that Sister Crone knows that they can break the tracking devices now, asking if their escape day can be moved up. Pulling out the camera, Ray states that he's now obtained all the parts he needs to do so, with the next scene showing Sister Crone having a revelation to search just in case they do have all those parts. As she begins searching Ray's bed, she finds a piece of paper, the paper supposedly outlining a weakness of Isabella's. Returning to her room, Sister Crone is pretty delighted with this info, but before she can ponder on it anymore, Isabella knocks on her door. Opening it, Isabella hands Sister Crone a letter from headquarters, an involuntary separation letter. It reads, Number 18684. Sister Crone, we hereby appoint you to be mum for Plant 4. Sister Crone has lost against Isabella, but even so, she's still not ready to give up. Exiting the orphanage and meeting with a figure called Grandma, Sister Crone pulls out the paper she found under Ray's bed. She explains to Grandma that in addition to what's on the note, the perfect scorers in the farm are trying to escape, but with no sufficient evidence to back up her statements, Grandma just brushes them off, saying how Isabella is a necessary pawn and that Sister Crone is being troublesome. With Grandma leaving, Sister Crone is left alone with her own thoughts, or at least she thinks she's alone. As she tries her hardest to escape, we see flashbacks of her training to become a mum in a farm, with multiple other women doing the same as her. And finally, we see what the flowers and the bodies are really used for: killing, with the flowers blooming whenever the victim is dead, which makes a lot of sense. I mean, these are bloodthirsty demons here, yet Connie's body wasn't torn up or anything, just lifeless. Switching back to the group, they begin their plan to inspect the outside world, but before they can do anything, Isabella says to Ray that Sister Crone has been eliminated. Ray, being surprised, runs to Sister Crone's room just to find nothing, and before he can say anything, Isabella says his deal is over. Also, I find it really interesting that she always refers to him as a useful dog, like it's a Sydney train at 2 AM.
Give you a big hug.
It really shows how she just sees the children as farm animals. With the situation changing, Isabella locks Ray in the room and proceeds to go find Emma and Norman, tracking them down using the tracking tool. Seeing Isabella exit the orphanage, Don finds Ray and breaks the door down, setting him free. Don, Gilda, and Ray go to stop Isabella, but not before she finds Norman and Emma at the wall. Dropping her motherly act entirely, he reintroduces herself, even stating that at the moment, it's just the caretaker and the children meant to be food. But even so, she still says she loves them, wanting them to stop resisting so that they don't suffer. So is she bending the truth to do the trick? Genuinely from a loving place. Arguing is now futile, as Emma goes back and forth with Isabella, only to be stopped by Norman. But they haven't exactly given up yet. Never mind. This is more devastating than it seems, as now she can't run, so their escape date must be pushed back a month or so, right around Ray's shipment. As the other three arrive at the conflict, Isabella tells them some devastating news. Her higher-ups have given a notice for Norman's shipment date the very next day. As Gilda, Ray, and Don express their frustrations outside, Norman sits beside Emma, trying his best to remain calm, with him then breaking down whilst getting water for Emma because she can't move. As Norman returns to Emma's room, he finds Ray there as well, only for them to state that he is going to escape the next day, or more precisely, have him disable his tracker and hide out in the forest until everyone else can escape. Even with this and then some, Norman still isn't convinced that it'll work. Instead, he states that they can have his life, but he'll destroy what Isabella has plotted to make sure the escape for everyone else succeeds. But even so, Emma proposes an idea, to have Ray and Norman break a bone or get sick to push back their shipments. As the three are all high quality, it would need to be in perfect condition to be shipped. Opposing Emma's idea, but agreeing to Ray's eventually, he's handed a tool to disable his tracking device whilst not notifying Isabella. As Norman asks how Ray found out the truth about the house, Ray explains that he knew from the beginning, further explaining how he's been able to retain his memories since he was just a fetus. He then points out that after the tracking devices were implanted into babies, they would be separated into groups of 5, with Ray passing through a dark tunnel eventually arriving at the orphanage, which could only mean that past the gate lies headquarters and the adjacent 5 farms. So with this gate's exit being possible to escape from, the only option is to climb the gigantic wall, with their escape now being conducted once Emma's leg was healed. The next day, everyone's trying their best to behave as they always do, as Norman sprints to the wall with some rope and ties it to a tree. Using the rope as assistance, Norman makes it on top of the wall and sees nothing but trees for miles. Later that evening, as the group all wait nervously, we see Isabella check her tracker, as Norman returns completely disregarding the plan that was set in place. That night, Ray and Emma confront Norman on this decision, but before they can make any argument, Norman tells them some crucial info that we as the viewer didn't even know. There's a cliff beyond the wall, wide, long, and deep, with certain death awaiting anyone who falls in. Along with that, Norman figured out that this farm and surrounding farms are on a hexagonal property surrounded by a cliff, but the section west of their farm was probably headquarters, also containing a bridge over the cliff. Before more can even be said, the group are interrupted with Norman handing back Ray's device, with their conversation ending with a farewell group hug. As he packs up his stuff, Norman finds an old string phone he and Emma once used when he was sick as a young child, so that they could still talk to each other. I like this scene a lot, especially with it being the only thing he's packed. It shows a lot of sentimental value and shows us the impact Emma has had on his life. As everyone finishes saying their goodbyes to Norman, Emma has another idea in mind. Running at Norman and tackling him, she tries to disable his tracker and get him to run away, but without hesitation, Norman pushes her away. As an argument begins to unfold, it's quickly ended by Isabella, whispering to Emma that she'll kill her if she starts another commotion. But before he leaves, he says his final farewell to Emma and Ray, then leaves the house to meet his demise. As Isabella walks to the gate with Norman, he asks her one simple question: "Are you happy?" It startles her, replying yes because she was able to meet someone like Norman. I do believe this to be true, but the fact that it initially startled her leads me to believe that she may have a little bit of guilt somewhere in her heart. As they enter the gate, Isabella asks Norman to wait inside a room, with the only thing we have to go off is shocked look on Norman's face, as if he's found out about something or seen someone. Back at the farm, both Emma and Ray are very depressed, to the point where even Ray suggests that they just give up and die. As Emma returns to her room, she breaks down in tears, but is quickly stopped when Isabella enters her room. She taunts her with statements like, "You can't do anything on your own." But even so, Isabella even says that she'll recommend her to become a mum of a farm, but Emma still declines the offer, her will to save all the kids just being too strong. As the days go by, we eventually arrive at Ray's last night before he's shipped away, which coincidentally is his birthday. What a fun celebration that will be. Alright, everyone, are you all ready? Yeah, we're ready. Are you ready? Just hurry up. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Happy birthday! Yeah. Oh, wow, oh my god, thank you guys so much. You coming out drinking? Barry, you coming out drinking? It's your birthday, we gotta get hammered, bro. Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry, guys, I don't think I'll be able to make it. Oh, what? Why, man? It's your birthday. Come on, don't tell me you're working. Oh, no, I'm not working. Alright, so it turns out that I need to go get shipped to be eaten by demons. Yeah, what the heck? Man. But as Emma meets with Ray, it's revealed that Emma still hasn't given up, because Isabella had to have her eyes peeled on both Emma and Ray after Norman's shipment. Emma left everything to Don and Gilda to figure out. With her escape finally planned out, there are still just 2 problems left. Firstly, Isabella's watchful eyes, which in order to escape, they'll need to separate her from the babies to shake her off. And secondly, the cliff past the wall. They can't go to the bridge to the west, as security will be tight once notified about an escape. So to counter that, Ray will seal off Isabella's secret room, light the orphanage on fire so that they can evacuate everyone and escape whilst Isabella's busy putting the fire out. Even with this seemingly perfect plan, what if Isabella just decides, fuck the house, I'm going after the kids? Well, to counter that, Ray pours petrol on himself, meaning that since he's the top scorer and it's his shipment day, would be a bad idea on Isabella's part to abandon him. As midnight rolls around, Ray lights a match and drops it, with Emma charging right towards him. Switching to Isabella, we see her doing her usual nightly duties as the mother of the farm, right until she hears Ray's name being screamed out. Running towards the room and opening the door, we see that the entire room has been engulfed in flames, with only Emma to be seen. Realizing what Ray did to himself, Isabella runs back out the room and orders Gilda to get everyone outside, with the exception that the babies need to be in her own room. Charging back in, Isabella tries using a fire extinguisher. I say tries, as after like 3 seconds it just lets out a pathetic trickle of pre-cum instead of like a entire load. Looking back, Emma is nowhere to be seen. Using her tracker to locate her, she finds nothing but a bucket. Looking inside, she sees Emma's own ear, as she now realizes what's happening. Switching to Emma, we see her meet up with the rest of the kids, including Ray. That Emma caught the match from earlier, with some of the other kids helping lay out a fake Ray to be engulfed instead of himself. As everyone begins to escape, we are told that some of the other kids were let in on the secrets of the house, so that they would be more willing to escape, including Nat, Anna, Lannian, and Toma. Making it to the wall, it is said that Emma and Nat will climb up first, then pulling everyone else up afterwards. But as we switch back to Isabella, we see that she's basically lost her mind, still not willing to let them all get away, but not all of them are actually escaping. As we see everyone getting pulled up onto the wall, we have a flashback to a conversation between Emma and Phil, with Emma telling him the truth, but with Phil, despite being so young, already having his suspicions. I like that about this show. It made me think that a lot of these characters could actually exist without it being a TV show. It's immersive. With all that new info, we realize that the really young kids, the quote-unquote liabilities, are being left in charge of Phil, with Emma vowing to return in the next 2 years to save them and the kids in the other planets. But before they can make any progress, Isabella alerts headquarters about the escape, with an alarm going off and maximum security being enforced. So instead, to Ray's surprise, they cross over the cliff instead of the bridge, with Don throwing a rope across and around a tree, forming a flying box, or if you're a boring American,
Please say Donald Trump.
a zipline. Propaganda. With Don crossing first, Lannian and Toma then use their devices they made earlier to get their own ropes across the cliff, with Don tying those up and forming 4 flying boxes. With Ray completely thwarted with their training, he has a vision of Norman standing next to him, with the two conversing about how they finally made it to a scenery they thought they would never see. With Isabella finding out that they haven't even made it to the bridge, she realizes what the kids are up to, as we see that only 5 more need to cross over. And with some of the younger ones scared of falling, this gave Isabella some time to catch up a bit. Now, with just Emma needing to cross, Isabella finally catches up to them. But with no way to stop her, Emma makes her way across the cliff, with the flying foxes then being severed, leaving Isabella alone with her own thoughts. As she stands upon the wall, she has visions of when she was once a child in a farm talking with a boy named Leslie, as he plays an instrument. Don't know what it's called, it just kind of sounds cool. The scene eventually shows Isabella on her shipment day, finding out the truth about everything, which then progresses to her training to become a mum and becoming pregnant. Now, in a world where most men end up dead, I don't know how she became pregnant, unless
Just right click it.
maybe a demon could? The scene finally ends with Isabella being a mum at her own planet, with Ray as a young child.
Bro.
Did it survive?
This sequence was really cool, but once it gave Isabella at least some level of humanity, showing us that she wasn't always so cruel. And watching it for the first time, I really had no idea Ray was Isabella's son. By rewatching it now, I now see all the hints and similarities between the two, showing that it wasn't some random thing they added in the last second, but something it has been telling us for a while now. As we see Isabella, she realizes and accepts defeat, and instead wishes them luck and support with their escape, with her then returning to the rest of the kids about as they sprint for their lives. They finally make it to the edge of their immediate forest surrounding the wall, just as the sun comes up, as their escape plan finally to reality. And that's the first season. God damn, that was great. And it's not just me who thinks that either. Just look at my anime list for a second, and you can tell that it's an instant classic on its release. But I wish I could say the same about the second season. Now, as much as I wish I could sit here, jerk off the first season, we have to move on to the second season. Because to really appreciate how good the first season is, we have to know how dog shit this second season really is. So let's begin and watch one of the worst falls from grace in anime history. Season 2 of The Promised Neverland begins with everyone that had previously escaped running in a dark forest from a giant demon trying to hit them. This is just not a good start to the season. With how the first season began with questions and mysteries to keep the viewer intrigued right away, the second season just answers the question of what's beyond the wall, which is boring. You could question whether they'll survive or not, but come on, there's 11 fucking episodes. Do you think they would die in the first one? Jumping back a little bit to before this attack, and we see everyone exploring the forest, surrounded by giant trees and strange creatures. After discussing their thoughts on their escape, Don and Gilda arrive, and we find out that they need to head southeast. Hold up, shut the fuck up, because look up! It's William Minerva's, the one who put the codes and shit in the books from last season, and it was given to them by Norman after he left. Taking the pen apart, a hologram pops up. What? When the fuck was this sort of technology introduced? If there are holograms in this world, then why does Isabella communicate using walkie-talkies and shit, as seen in the first season? On the hologram is the combination BO114, their coordinates on a map, along with the hologram's logo that, when touched, brings up a login, and by using the book with no Morse code from last season, the group is able to find its password. Entering her password comes up with a message. If you need help, come visit me. I'm located at BO632, William Minerva. With the location finally settled, the group set out on their journey, using the books Minerva left them to help guide them towards survival. Later on, as demons from headquarters pinpoint their direction, the group run into that big demon from the start of the episode, with Don and Gilda leading the kids away, with Emma seen following due to Ray's request. As Ray tries to lead her into a trap, he throws up his lantern, with the demon's head being severed by a headquarters demon instead. With the demons revealing that they know he's hiding, Ray first writes down a message to the group saying to go to BO632 and that there's pursuers, and then he reveals himself, afterwards running away. Now, this may seem like a smart play, that being writing what he did, which it very well could have been, but as we see later on, it was fucking stupid, like Ray just lost brain cells between seasons or some shit. Unbeknownst to the others of Ray's encounter, Emma points them downhill, with herself going to check it out, or attempting to. With her wound from her ear opening back up, Emma begins to lose more blood, but not before a mysterious figure points them towards what may be safe. Skeptical, the group asks it to reveal its face, but as they smirk, we switch back to Ray, finally being cornered by the headquarters demons. As he collapses from exhaustion, Ray is then saved by another strange figure, with a chase then starting, but soon ending with an explosion. Waking up, Ray finds himself underground, soon finding Emma, and they reveal what happened to each other, with the first figure then revealing herself to be a friend. She leads Ray and Emma to the rest of the group, but not before Ray asks a simple question. Why are demons helping humans? As it is revealed that they and the other figure are both demons. As it dawns on two that the other kids could have been devoured by these demons, Emma yells at the demons, asking if the rest of the kids are safe, despite no actual malice in the two demons that we know of. In fact, as Emma runs away with Ray chasing her, the male demon even gives some directions to the kids. As they both find the kids, the two demons also arrive and explains themselves as Mujika and Sonju, two demons that don't eat nor intend to eat humans. Later that day, Sonju reveals to Emma and Ray that they chose not to eat humans due to religious reasons, and that he has no interest in the farm's ideology, profit, or authority. This is one new theme within this season that's actually pretty cool. Just like how the demons enslave and raise humans, we do the same to various farm animals in real life. And just like Sonju, depending on your religion or beliefs, you may have varying viewpoints towards animals and farms being raised to be eaten by humans. Happened to humanity, Sonju reveals that the world's been like this for a while, as he begins a tale of what used to be. Before, there were abundant humans for demons to eat, but as humans began fighting back and killing even more demons, it created endless killing and constant fear, with a compromise eventually being proposed to end this war, to segregate and split the world in two, one side demons and the other humans. After hunt, humans were left behind to be bred and eaten instead, starting the farms. It had been about 1,000 years since that agreement, with the entire group being directly in the demon side of the world. As Emma and Ray get excited at the fact that there's even just a human world, Sonju shuts him down by saying that as a part of the agreement, no one can cross over each side. Yet, the two still haven't given up hope. Hello, remember when Ray wrote down Minerva's coordinates on that tree? Well, the demons from headquarters found that same tree. You donkeys come, Ray, you're a fucking idiot. That's another problem in this season. All the characters just feel like they're missing their intelligence from season 1. And that's not the only thing this season is apparently missing. As the group plan to meet up with Minerva and ask how to get to the human world, Sonju tells them that to go southeast, it'll take 5 days to leave the forest. So he and Mujika teach them the basics on how to survive, like cooking and hunting and other shit, whilst leading them out of the forest. For the next 5 minutes or so, it's just them learning how to do this shit, and oh my god, is it fucking boring. Where's the excitement the first season had? What made season 1 so special was how they used their intelligence to get through tough situations, but now those types of scenes are replaced with straightforward and dull training segments with little value in the show's progression. Boring. Skipping forward, and we find Emma training with Sonju as she shoots a live bird. As they find it, still barely alive, Sonju hands Emma a goopna. You might recognize this plant from when Sister Crone was killed, and as we'll see once it blooms, when they found Connie. In this world, food is dedicated to the gods, and if accepted, the goopna will bloom. It's a traditional practice upon demons, and it also works to drain the blood of an animal. Piercing the heart of a bird, Emma is shaken up by having to do this. Further seen when she returns home, but she seems a lot more quiet than usual. Finally, after days of traveling, they make it out of the forest and discover a large and vast desert wasteland. After wishing them farewell, Sonju and Mujika say their goodbyes, but not before Mujika gives Emma an amulet that she hopes will protect her. After the group leaves, Sonju and Mujika talk about how handing them over to the farm could actually grant them comfortable living conditions for 6 months or so, because despite not eating humans because of their religion, they only really saved them out of curiosity, or so we thought, as Sonju reveals that if they live and breed outside the walls, they'll be able to hunt and eat their offspring for generations, as it doesn't go against their religion. Damn, what a plot twist. Except I wish it was shown in a way where it wasn't just told, but shown, like how season 1 dealt with this type of shit. Also, this is never brought up again, I guess just to make Sonju look like a wanker. As Sonju goes to take care of business, we are shown that night that he meant killing the demons from headquarters. Switch finally arrived at their designation, but with nothing around in the scenery or the map, they used a pen to figure out what to do. It shows 108-1501, and so going to page 108 line 15 in a book comes up with history. Entering it, and they're greeted with a map, followed by the words welcome and unlock. I really hate this aspect in this season. In season 1, they had to use their heads to figure out a way around a situation, but in this season, it's just like pen. After finding the entrance and subsequently entering the bunker, they find some switches that, when turned on, activate the bunker's electricity. They then find a letter that reads, "Congratulations on arriving. I'm sorry I cannot celebrate it with you in person. This shelter is yours. William Minerva." At last, they find shelter, equipped with food, water, crops, a secret escape route, and various means of protection and security, such as a radio. Using the radio, they are able to hack into the regular check-in to headquarters, meaning that at some point they'll be able to get information on the house and the kids still there. The next day, they discover a strange door containing a keyhole with Morse code that reads pen. This fucking pen, man. Once unlocked and entered, they find a room containing a single chair and a phone. Fucking Sea-Dog VA's house, dude. At the same time, some of the other kids discover another room. This one with the word help plastered all over the wall, as if someone was desperately trying to escape something. Back to Emma and the others, the phone rings and, when picked up, William Minerva announces himself through a voice recording. I don't know how this is possible. Like, how does a phone ring when the person that rang is just a voice recording? Like, I get it, there's demons and shit everywhere and it's a different world, but come on, man. As the recording continues, it's revealed that Minerva's real name is James Rattray, and that he used to work as the gatekeeper, but after seeing what happens to the kids over and over again, he decides to help them out by slipping them clues under a fake name. But eventually, he was caught and pursued as a traitor. Eventually, he gives them two options. One, to live in a shelter forever, or two, to go to the human world. Which, when the word future is entered into the hologram, a map is shown showing where the human world is. And so, they make a plan to rescue the kids still at the farms, bring them to the shelter, and eventually go to the human world. What follows is 2 minutes of again another training and preparation sequence that feels very lazy and boring to watch. After checking the farm's transmission once again to find nothing, we switch to Isabella, who after last season has been imprisoned due to her letting the kids escape, as she shows remorse and sympathy for the kids. With a figure known as Grandma giving her a calm earful, she asks, would you like to see them? Referring to the kids. Switching to the kids, as they're all preparing to head to sleep, out of nowhere, a giant explosion occurs, busting the entrance to the bunker wide open, with humans in military gear then entering, scouring the entire place. I knew this would fucking happen. When you're going out hunting all the time, when you know you yourself are being hunted, it's fucking stupid, seeing as they had everything they would need in the bunker. As everyone hides, they realize that 2 people were missing from the group, Don and... Fuck,
I'm so
I don't fucking care.
confused.
Meeting up with the rest of the group, they all finally make their way to a secret escape tunnel, which turns out to not be so secret because one of the bad guys catch up to them. Luckily, they are able to shoot them with their bows. They eventually make their way out of the bunker, but not before properly being captured. But before Emma and Ray can surrender, a giant demon comes out of nowhere and devours the humans from headquarters. It's all just plot convenience. In the first season, there was never something like this, as it was actually written really well. But in this season, it's just, oh no, we got captured. Oh, don't worry, the giant demon just came out of nowhere and only got the bad guys. Oh, or someone or something just magically appearing and helping the group out. As they shoot the demon with an arrow directly in its eye, they all make a run for it. Simultaneously, the demons from headquarters give Isabella a chance. If the current operation fails, which it did miserably, they'll leave everything to her to get the kids back. And if she succeeds, they'll essentially give her freedom, along with something else unknown to us at the time. The conversation ends with Isabella saying how she'll get back the children who betrayed her. Just fucking stupid. First of all, no one betrayed you. And secondly, weren't you just saying how the kids will escape no matter what headquarters does? And she seemed like she actually did love them as a mother literally like 3 minutes ago. How can someone change so quickly just by saying they'll be given some shit? Starting the next episode, we're in a town crawling with demons, as 2 demons talk about the Gracefield farm escape. The same escape Emma and the others were a part of, and that they're probably dead, but despite their odds, everyone in the group is still alive, having to collect whatever scraps they can whilst disguising themselves as demons in town, living in an abandoned church just out of that town. With everyone else sleeping, Emma's still wide awake as she reevaluates her actions, saying how she's starting to hate herself and that she thought she could protect and save everyone, but yet they all keep getting into life-threatening situations. Her monologue is soon stopped by Ray, who comforts her, saying how they're doing the right thing for everyone. As the others awaken, Lanny and Antoma ask to help come out and search of food and supplies, seeing as they've made well done demon disguises and can hope. Is that fucking weed? What the fuck is that? Emma agrees, but before they can go out, an elderly demon arrives at the church. Due to the numbing of his senses because of old age, the demon knows that they're there, but he doesn't seem to know that they're humans, not demons. As he lays down food to appease the god of his religion, he basically says how the demon world is going shit, with not enough human meat being provided to demons, and that soon the town will become wild. As the demon leaves, Emma realizes that he was praying to his family, which in return makes Emma empathize with the demons more. Switching back to the demons from town, we see now what the elderly demon meant when he said the town would become wild, as we see 2 young demons morphed with extra limbs and disfigured bodies, meaning that most demons need human flesh to survive. And hearing the kids from Gracefield are still alive, they decide to go look for them in hopes of feeding them to the disfigured demons demons to stop their so-called degeneration. While in town, Lannian and Toma are knocked over by the same demons from before as they realize that they're humans. Running away, Don and Gilda lead Lannian and Toma back to the hideout as Ray and Emma lure the demons away. Seemingly cornered by 5 extra demons at this point, along with the other 2, one of these unseen demons slashes both of the other one's throats, killing them, in which he then reveals himself to be Norman. I actually thought this was a good plot twist. I just wasn't expecting it at all, and it caught me off guard, but not in a this is fucking stupid type of way, like a lot of this season has been so far. Breaking down in tears, Emma runs into Norman's arms, questioning what happened to him, in which he pauses, and states that he was sent to a different farm. Now, Norman could just be a vapor who needs a deep breath every time he speaks, but I think it's more likely that his pause is him being reluctant to give an answer, making me question if his intentions are pure. As the other so-called demons reveal themselves to also be human, we cut to the castle, in which Norman greets the rest of the escapees. Explaining himself, Norman says that he was transferred to a testing site for children called Lambda 7214, in which demons and adults would execute experiments onto them in order to mass produce more high-grade meat, which accidentally would result in abnormal growth in muscles, sense, etc., making them stronger and more intelligent. With the help of a supporter of Minerva called Spinel, Norman was able to destroy Lambda and had escaped with the other children, and using the various experiment data from there, he created a drug that will cause demons to degenerate, like what was happening to the young demons before. Essentially, if demons don't eat humans, they'll turn into the ones like we saw in the forest, losing all their intelligence. And Norman just made a drug that'll cause that no matter what. His reason? To make demons go extinct and create a paradise for humans in the demon world. And as you might think, Emma's not so on board with the idea, as once Norman leaves later on, she confides in Ray, asking if there's another way without annihilation or conflict. And as naive as it sounds, the demons still have families and friends, and all the same things humans have. It's just that they need to eat humans to survive, otherwise they'll just go wild. So the next day, the 2 go to speak to Norman, but before they can, are greeted with some of his crew. Zazie, who isn't there at this time, Sislo, Barbara, and Vincent. I can't tell whether I like them or not, because although they add variety to the type of characters in the story, can't help but think their personalities were made like how they were, make the story a bit more quirky. This is further proof when they all talk about how much they love killing and eating and torturing demons, that everyone who doesn't agree with their plan is wrong. I especially dislike Barbara. It's like she was added to just be annoying. Like at least Sislo and Vincent kind of more chill about it, but they all kind of just suck off Norman, which gets fucking annoying quickly.
I hate them.
Norman then finally arrives, then showing the 2 the drug, but they question its effectiveness just because Sonju and Mujika don't eat humans and are fine. This makes Norman paranoid, questioning himself by asking the evil-blooded girl is still alive. And I'm sorry, but this shit just sounds lame as fuck. You couldn't be more creative with the name. Explaining what he knows, Norman reveals that Mujika is this evil-blooded girl, saying that with just a sip of her blood, a demon would gain similar powers to her and will be fine without eating humans. Around 700 years ago, as communities started to share the blood with each other, the king of the land found out, then captured and murdered every demon who had obtained this power, because if spread anymore, it would ruin their own amount of power. But even so, Mujika was able to escape. Okay, so we have Mujika, a demon who, just by sharing her blood, can create a chain reaction of demons not needing to eat humans, which can create harmony between demons and humans. Great, right? No, because Norman's a stubborn little cunt. He just wants revenge. Wow, that's so interesting. He keeps making up excuses on why this wouldn't work, revealing that they can't even take humans to the human world, because the entry to the human world Emma and Ray saw on the map doesn't exist anymore, and that the only one left is at the headquarters in Gracefield Farm, where they escaped from, and that it's basically impossible to get to, blah blah blah. I don't give a fuck, shut the fuck up. Both sides keep whining and shit, because Norman is now this fucking Sigma alpha male fuck women type of dude, until Emma makes a deal. She'll find Mujika and Sonju for Norman, then he can't annihilate the demons, but they only have 5 days to return with them, otherwise the deal is off. Now, I might just be stupid, but doesn't Norman want to kill Sonju and Mujika? How would bringing them to him be a good idea? I might have missed something here, but so much shit gets thrown into your face in this scene, but it felt like I couldn't focus on anything. Once Emma and Ray leave, Norman and his gang meet up and discuss what new info they now know, which results in Barbara having a temper tantrum, then having what's called a lambda seizure. Apparently the seizure is normal for Zazie, Sislo, Barbara, and Vincent, as they were experimented on and don't have much time left. But Norman's apparently fine, as he just took tests. You know how I said Emma was stupid for making this deal with Norman? Well, it turns out that when they're back, he'll kill Mujika and Sonju, and that the original plan still hasn't changed, as we then see the experiments they've been doing on a large demon. Back at the castle, Emma tells the rest of the kids their plan, and after some initial disagreement, they support Emma with her idea. As the sun rises, we cut to Norman, experiencing a seizure and coughing up blood, showing us that he's just been lying about only taking tests at Lambda. We then see a previous memory of
Your world engine can now support Tier 2 upgrades.
Yay.
The WERK will now reboot 3 additional archives. The Echo of the Fabricator oversees thermodynamics and mechanical processes. The Echo of the Enchanter governs magical infusion and item enchantment. The Echo of the Wayfinder specializes in transportation and items discovered through exploration.
Okay, interesting. Sophisticated chest add-on, backpack add-on. You just get random data models. Okay, well, I don't want to start with them yet. I need to finish. I need to finish this one, and then I can end the stream, and then yeah. One, like the problem is I don't want to use all my money on this bullshit though. It's the thing. I don't know. I'll get 5. 1.6 million FE now. Okay. How you want 6 gallon a month? Boring. How you want 6 gallon a month? Boring. Intiwana akhla. Habibti, please. Anawaki Itiwana akhla. So how much? 139 for how many of these? 9 train casings. I need train casings and shadow casing with shadow steel. Like how? Like how? Main create vault chests. Into one Anaki. Do I finish this or do I just end it here? Because I kind of don't need this world upgrade, nor do I care about create. I'll start the quest line for these 3, but yeah, I'll just start the quest line. Oh wait, not the Twilight Ancient. I need to go here, or no? Is it here? No. Is it here? Yes. Fabricator and the Wayfinder. Hello. Hello, Twinsky. Oh, or attack.
Anomalous entity detected.
Oh, wonderful. A new person to bother me. You might have already met my younger brother, the Machinist. A real genius, that one. That's not his real name, of course, but you didn't come here for family stories, did you? I'm assuming you're after that world engine upgrade. Let's get this over with so I can go back to actively ignoring everyone. This next upgrade isn't anything spectacular. I'll be showing you how to work with thermodynamics so you can send heat into the world engine. Not as impressive as what the other Echoes offer, but it's what I've got. To start, a superheating element will give you a good foundation for a resistive heater. There are other options out there if you're clever enough to figure them out, but this one will work to start things off. You're going to need a ton of power to kick this thing into high gear, so make sure your power infrastructure is up to par or you'll regret it.
A superheating element and a resistant. Basic to iron, basic to gold. Power cell. Oh, wait, I can get data models from you? Basic data models, like in this pack? Low-key worth. Low genuinely worth. Okay. Wait, I need to fabric. Okay, fabricator thing is started. Now I go to the wayfinder. I love the shit this pack be giving me. It's kind of crazy. Oh my. Occultism. You want me to find the way, and the way is occultism?
Anomalous entity detected.
Well met, traveller.
Hey,
Are
Queen.
you seeking a new adventure? Or perhaps a new path in life altogether? While I cannot promise you the latter, I can point you toward a certain vault that may satisfy your adventurous spirit. Most of your journeys so far have relied on ordinary travel mediums, such as walking or running. Effective, yes, but hardly efficient. Hidden deep within the deep slate lies a vault, rumored to contain technology capable of translocating your very atoms from one place to another in the blink of an eye. Such a discovery would be invaluable to us. Ah, and what's in it for you? Well, chronoton stars are supposedly safeguarded by a powerful being within this vault, and these are essential for upgrading your world engine. These stars may be infused with glass to create chronoton glass, a material said to bend time and space to your command. The task ahead may require a little out-of-the-box thinking.
Mob swab. Okay. Thanks, Queen. Into one Aka Anaki. Okay, so I met the fabricator, the wayfinder. Now I need the enchanter. Where'd the enchanter be? There's nothing here. Where would the enchanter be? The infernal. The light bender. What the hell? The catalyst. So these three were all. Is this the enchanter? The archive. No, this is the main one. So you. I need the enchanter. Twilight Ancient. Quartermaster. Catalyst. Infernal. Fabricator, Wayfinder, Enchanter. Thank you. I can like actually use my levels for something. It's
Do you too seek the power of the deep?
Yes.
It has been many eons since I first wove the theory of enchantment, an art still practiced to this day. And now, it seems you are next in line to walk this path. May your fate be better than the Nidwits who failed to control the deep and turn this realm to stone. To claim your world engine upgrade, you must follow my instructions carefully, lest the deep consume you. Begin by delving into the depths of the world, where a dark and ancient power lingers. Within its lair, you may uncover echo shards that carry the essence of the deep. Alternatively, you may encounter a certain explorer who has returned with echo shards of his own. Completing the Wayfinder's task should persuade him to trade some, if you, like many others, prefer to avoid the dangers of the deep. You must now craft an enchanting vessel capable of housing the three aspects of enchanting. Eterna, Quanta, and Arcana. Through careful balance, discover the proper mixture of items to reach these values, or greater. 60 Eterna, 40 Quanta, and 40 Arcana. This harmony of aspects will awaken the deep shelves, turning them into vessels fit to channel the deep. Why bookshelves, you ask? Because knowledge is the key to all things, my dear seeker. Your world engine upgrade will require a few awakened shelves and 2 echo-infused deep shelves. This may be created by bringing the echo shard into resonance with the awakened vessel near sources of Arcana. Be cautious, be bold, my new friend.
Okay. Thanks, twin. Oh my gosh. Okay. Tell them to bring me my money. Yeah. Tell them to bring me. What does this do? Through others, we become ourselves. Man, I don't care. I don't care. I don't. Ana aki intiwana akhla. Habibti, please. Ana waki intiwana akhla. And they say, why? Tell them that it's human nature. Why? Do we do me that way? Why? Tell them that it's human nature. Why? Do we do me that way? Reaching out. Like, I haven't finished this yet, though. That's the problem. And I don't like that. I don't like that I haven't finished this yet. Iron Man's upgrade. Iron Mana. Whoop. You and I don't read. Temporal time. Make sure you have a temporal time pouch. Temporal pouch. Kill it. Tell him that it's human nature. Why? Craft a resistive heater. Water generator. Okay, like, if I buy this, it would solve my storage problem pretty well. Oh, I keep getting jump scared by my phone. Who messaging me? Okay. I think this is a good place to stop. After I check the store here. Hello, twin. I don't know what to do with the mobs, but if I'm looking at everything correctly, I don't think. Man, oh, I can break that. Oh well. Home. My base is. I'm still poor. I'm still so poor. Why am I so poor? Okay. Train station. Then place the station nearby. Yep. Stations are the waypoints of your track network. Okay. I'm not gonna ask. Reaching out. They say why? Tell them that it's human nature. Why does he do me that way? Why? Tell them that it's human. So I actually do need to do this. Basically, is what Like, 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 oh, like, no, 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 no. I will go find out if I can make this. Actually, I will not go find out. I'm ending. I'm ending here. How long have I been live for? Calm little 2.5 hours. Nothing crazy. Okay, goodbye.